Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's all right. Listening to 11900 Voice of America.
Le Parlement européen a rejeté en bloc les accusations de violation des droits humains portées par un pays contre lequel
Broadcasting from Sao Tome in Africa. 11900, pretty good signal. Voice of America in French. And here we go. Here we go again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Shortwave radio stream. This is a show about radio. We are here twice a week, and we try to have fun with radio. And it's a great opportunity to have tons of people gathering from around the world. And basically, we are really having a great time enjoying the radio hobby. I mean, this is cool because, I got an email this week from a listener in Norway, and mentioning that for him, the live shows and all the videos that I put up are amazingly fun to watch. He's a disabled person, and he says that, he's kind of stuck in his home pretty much. And of course, gets help to go around the different chores. But he says that when you are stuck at home, one of the things that is really a big problem is you get bored with, not having the possibility to go out, meet people. And he says, well, it's cool because when I watch your live show, I see the people in the chat room, and I have the impression of being among, with other people. We're a big gang, even though it's, it's virtual. He says that it feels like he's somewhere with a bunch of great guys that like radio, and he's enjoying every moment. And, that's the kind of email that you get that you're like, wow, this is so cool. And it's fun to see that we reach, a lot of people around us. And, the aspect of radio, aspect of doing this live show is amazingly cool for that opportunity of having everybody come together with radio in mind and just enjoying a great moment together. And I think we're gathering a good crowd too. One of the biggest problems I hate, and I've mentioned a few times, I got out of so many groups. I barely keep the groups that I've kept in my Facebook or whatever lists of groups of email groups are mainly for radio purposes, meaning that there are groups that I don't interact. I will keep up with some of the sometimes, kind of idiotic exchange that can happen, because these groups are worth it for, late minute news and information about things happening in the hobby that I want to know, because I can also talk about it here, talk about it on the channel. So I'll keep up with some groups for that purpose of just knowing, up to the minute, oh, there's this happening and this is going to be cool. So there's that side that I keep. But for the rest, I've noticed that, you know what? I have this going. And of course, now with the Facebook group that I opened, I don't really need to be in any group. And, I get invites for so many groups all the time because people see my group, see this, and it's like, oh, you should join this. Okay, it ain't gonna happen. I first of all, I have very limited time, and second of all, I've got my groups, I've got my fans, I've got my great, the great people that follow me and that are interacting with me and in the group here and in the email. In the email, just a quick note, if you write to me at the official shortwave radio at gmail.com and ask for a question or something, sometimes I take a little bit of time to answer is because I got a high volume of emails coming in. So by the time that I go through them, it could take a few days. So hang in there, and I'm not ignoring you or anything. So this is, of course, a really cool place to be, and we have fun with radio. I mean, what more can we ask? Remember that there will be a change coming up tonight. So here in North America, we are moving clocks forward an hour. Now, if you are used to watching my show by the UTC time, no change. The UTC time is the same. It's still Wednesday at 0 UTC, which is technically Thursday, but it's Wednesday evening North America. And Saturday, 20 hours Universal Time. But what changes is, for example, here on the East Coast, the Eastern Standard Time right now is 3 p.m. when the show starts on Saturday. It'll be 4 p.m. next week. Remember that. If you look at your local time, hey, it's time for Gilles' show, and you get here and there's nothing happening, don't forget, it's UTC time you got to watch. So that means it'll be 4 p.m., an hour later. Same thing for the Wednesday evening show. It'll be an hour later, 8 p.m. rather than 7 p.m. So that is the summer daylight time that's gonna happen. So don't forget about that because you might get a little mixed up with the time and everything. And like I say, we live in UTC. If you live in UTC, no problem. You always know when the shows are happening and where everything is happening on the bands. Just gonna check email. If anybody is going to check in, please say hi. I will be happy to reach the email. I'll have a little more checks on the email because I sometimes kind of miss out on some of the people that say hi. So I'll be checking the email. I'll be checking the email for to make sure that I don't miss out on anybody. We have Elizabeth from Regina, Saskatchewan saying hello and that she is watching or listening to the live show. And we also have Bob that is in Nebraska. And he says that he's been watching for a while. And first time that he says hello. And he's not in the chat room, but enjoys the show. And of course says thank you for all that you do. It actually makes the hobby so much more enjoyable. So thank you, Bob, in Nebraska. And if anybody wants to write, say hi, say you're watching. Official Shortwave Radio at gmail.com. Official Shortwave Radio at gmail.com. And all the people make a big mistake. They often do official SWL radio. It's really each word has to be written out. Official Shortwave Radio. I think that's the biggest mistake that people, when they say the email's no good. So welcome aboard, everybody. It's always cool to have everybody here. Nice sunny day, a little on the cool side, but we're having some sunshine. It's about, minus -3, -4 Celsius one a couple of minutes ago, which is what, about in the upper 20s for you guys in the US. So something is coming up that we're going to talk about. So my name is Joe. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. We are here twice a week at 0 UTC Wednesday evening. That's Thursday UTC time for those that are past the midnight hour. It's Wednesday in North America. And we have the Saturday show at 20 hours Universal Time, where we, of course, have a lot of fun talking about radio. Hope you'll enjoy the show today. Once again, if you're asking questions in the chat room, if you're interacting with me, do keep in mind that from time to time, which is almost all the time, I am behind by, sometimes 15, 20, 30 minutes. So if you ask a question, I'm not there yet, don't worry. I try to answer everything and see everything. And just be patient. I'll be up to you, to your question in your moment, as I go through the chat room, and I'll say hi. I say hi to everybody, by the way. So it's just that it takes a little bit of time sometimes to go through all of this. So there's a chat room, of course. Sorry, guys. There's a chat room that you can join, and there's also the Facebook group, which is the official SWL channel. And this is where people will continue having fun and exchanging once this live show is over. We continue talking, sharing what we are going to have listening to, and radios, and just a lot of people asking questions. So this is a great place because I think everybody is a great to enjoys listening and enjoys helping others. So it's really cool to have good people actually interacting on the channel also at the same time. Upcoming tonight, and I'll repeat it a little later, there is a DX test coming up, guys. So what is it all about? Well, here goes. Let me just fetch the details, and we will, of course, talk about it. So tonight, there's an AM radio test that's going to happen, a DX test, as we say. It lasts 2 hours, and it's 05 to 08 UT. Now you're saying, well, that's 3 hours. That's because at 2 a.m. Eastern time, we are changing our clocks. So it's technically 2 a.m. is going to be 2 a.m. is going to change everything. So 2 a.m. is going to be 8 UTC. So just keep in mind that it's from 05 to 08 UTC, but technically it's just because of the time change. So it's Eastern time, midnight to 2 a.m. It lasts 2 hours. And so it starts at 05 UTC tonight. You got to check that out. And it will be until 3 a.m. Eastern time because time change. Once again, only 2 hours because 2 goes to 3. I know it's weird. So let's just think about a 2 hour DX test starting at 05 UTC tonight. It's on 1090 kilohertz, 1090 kilohertz, and it's from WENR in Englewood, Tennessee. This 2 hour is going to include legal voice identification, Morse code identification, sweep tones, sound effects, no music, announcements, or other material. This should maximize the chances of DXers hearing this rare daytime station. And there's QSL information. You can actually send a reception report and verification. That will be handled by the NRC IRCA. You can send them via email at lesles@highnoonfilm.com. And anyways, the details are on the Facebook group. Sheldon posted that there. So tonight, 05 UTC, 05 UTC, 2 hours of test. That's going to start on 1090 kilohertz, 1090 kilohertz. And this is from station WENR in Inglewood, Tennessee. So I will be listening and I will be trying it out. That is for sure tonight. Another little thing coming up this coming Friday night in North America. There's going to be an interesting thing happening with. I'm just going to bring it up here. So there's going to be a special shortwave broadcast coming up Friday. And so this broadcast is going to be a relay of a station, an FM station from Alaska. So it's called, let me just try to find it. I lost it. It's called KSKO Virtual Dance Party Request Party Thingy. So this is by a guy called Paul Walker that some of you may know. He's a well-known person, and he is the station manager at KSKO in McGrath, Alaska. It is a station that's a community station, basically. And it is on 89.5 in McGrath, Alaska. KSKO will have a live show coming up on WRMI. It will be March 20th, 03 to 05 UTC. Now, that's UTC. Remember that means it's Friday evening, North America. And that will be from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern time. The frequencies used, 7570 kilohertz for the West Coast and 7780 kilohertz for the East Coast. And this is going to be live. So program director Paul Walker is going to be hosting the show and will take requests by phone during the show. So you'll hear all kinds of music from the 60s to today, from all genres, and there's probably going to be something for everyone, Paul says. So 03 to 05 UT, March 20th. Remember, that's Friday evening, North America. So check that out. 7570 for the West Coast, 7780 for the East Coast, and that will be broadcast via WRMI. So some interesting stuff happening. People saying that shortwave is dead. There's nothing to listen to. Who cares? This is really, really going to be some cool stuff to check out. Okay, now. Oh, I've got something here that says test cancel. So the test will be canceled. Huh, okay. So there's no test happening tonight, finally? Huh, okay. That last minute. So, okay. Okay. This is interesting. So somebody said the test has been canceled. So, okay. So that is sad. But at least we have the Friday evening thing happening with KSKO. So, hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Kevin, nice to have you on board. WS2H from Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. Sounds like a nice place to be. I want to be at Point Pleasant Beach. So, yeah, okay. It seems like, let me just check it out. It seems like, let me check out the content here. Okay, I don't see the content of the message, but apparently the test has been canceled. Okay. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Glenn, nice to have you on board, KB9IN. Matt in Denver, Colorado, MDK2, where a snowstorm predicted to bring at least 18 inches of snow has just begun. So that's the best time to stay in, listen to the radio, and just enjoy a live show. Cheers, everybody, by the way. This is vodka and orange juice, commonly known as a screwdriver. Getting some 11-meter activity from Mexico, around 26,585. Cool. Michael Thompson, nice to have you here. And 2NLQ from New Jersey. And we have James Johnson, WA4493SWL from Florida, sunny and 83. Perfect weather for radio outside. TVDXer, salut. J'espère que tu vas bien. Nice to have you on board. Rob, nice to have you on board from Phoenix, Arizona. iBrawler for Northeast Arkansas. Nice to have you here. David, KJ4CMY. Nice to have you here, my friend. Steve Miller, nice to have you here from Arizona. Tom DXer from the Hudson Valley, New York, WPE2QED. We have Hector Vasquez, nice to have you here. We have Mad Boy, nice to have you on board. Bonjour PLF Radio, bienvenue. J'espère que ça va bien dans ton coin de pays. Steve Miller, getting popular, getting a Walgreens commercial. No, I didn't get a haircut, but I did trim my beard. I was tired of that big thing hanging off of my... Actually, I hate it when I eat. And I thought, okay, got enough. It's time to take it off. Especially also for the fact that as the temperature will start rising, I know I'm going to go nuts if I have too much hair on my face. So I just trimmed it, and the haircut's coming soon, but the hair is still long, pretty much. What else? Danielle, nice to have you here, Daniel. Amateur station N3WJH. Carl Icon, nice to have you on board from New York. Jared EX, nice to have you here, my friend. Kevin is hearing BBC 11810 from Ascension Islands. Let's check it out here. So I'm hearing VOA from Sao Tome, 11900. Let's go down to... Yeah, BBC.
Is ASEAN not following your wishes? Unfortunately,
11810 kilohertz, not too bad of a signal. A little noisy, but not too bad. 11810 BBC from Ascension Islands. Not too bad. Joe Turco, nice to have you here from Rochester, New York. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here from Northern Michigan. W8SWL. Snow is melting. Here we had some melting snow this week. We had nice temperatures. They went up to almost the 60s this week. Yesterday, been the day before. Vivian, nice to have you on board, and pretty cool to see everybody here. Ricardo, nice to have you on board, my friend. We have Hector Vasquez, that is from Los Angeles, California. Mark Douglas, nice to have you on board. I am pretty well, absolutely. Jeff Williams, nice to have you here from Cornwall, UK. Kevin has 9420, Voice of Greece, usually coming in quite well. René Charbonnier, the Dutch pirate, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Catalan, nice to have you here from windy Germany. Gerardo, nice to have you here from Michigan. And Rob says, nice I see you trim the beard. It looks good. Yeah, I like it better like this. It's a little scruffy, but I find it better. Keegan, XN80Xer, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. We have John Pickney. Nice to have you here from Oak Hill, Virginia. We have, and John Pickney is W3XWT/4. We have Steve Miller saying, thank God for living in Arizona, no time change. Yeah, here in Canada, it's Saskatchewan that doesn't change. Everybody saying hello to Elizabeth. Nice to have everybody here. M Stacks, nice to have you here from Berkeley, California, N6 RLS. So we'll be keeping an eye on the emails. So if anybody says hello, we'll be able to say hi back for sure. So we have a Shortwave listener that says hello, Jill and everyone. Good evening on a dark and stormy night in Northwest UK. Welcome aboard, Shortwave listener. Cool to have everybody on board. And you know what? Bad weather. It's the best time to just stay in, watch a live show, tune the bands, have fun with radio. Alan, nice to have you here. You're lucky there, Jill. In Britain, we have to wait another 2 weeks before we go to the British summertime. The clocks then go forward 1 hour. So we'll have an hour more of sunlight in the evening. That's going to be welcome. That's really going to be welcome. What else do we have? John Pickney has a chapter of his saga with a bait and switch eBay merchant. Okay. Interesting. Vince, salut. J'espère que tu vas bien. Just outside of Montreal. Thomas Lane, nice to have you here from Grand Rapids, Michigan, where it is sunny but too cold. Ricardo says, more than a year now that I found your channel after returning to Shortwave to take a breath from all the media, and the same time COVID came to the world. So cool. Great thing to, international broadcasters do talk a lot about COVID. I think every country is in the same boat, but, there's a lot of stuff, and radio is a fun, there's so much to listen to out there. There's so much more than just, in international broadcast stations. So it's nice to see that you can, just take your mind off of whatever, listen to the bands and see what's out there. Mickey Dalmage, nice to have you here from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. Michel Delmage, as we say in French. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Randall Klontz, nice to have you on board from Northeast Illinois. David has his drink of choice, which is lemonade. Perfect. That's great. Matt says some high band FT8 monitoring. There was some SA on 10 meter, but South America on 10 meter, but that's gone. 12 meter still open. Just saw New Zealand calling 15. Wow, cool. That is good DX. Straight glass of water. Don't drink that too fast. You never know what could happen. Kathleen, I still can't get my original RTL SDR stick to receive an HF. Is there an EEPROM firmware update? So you've got a V3 or just an RTL SDR stick, Kathleen. It's very important to know that. First. Second, you purchased it from a good buyer. There's a lot of fake V3 out there. They have the same package. They have the same look, but they are fake. There are Chinese cheap RTL SDR trying to pass for the V3. It's very important because the original cheap RTL SDR stick cannot receive shortwave. It doesn't work on shortwave. You have to have either a hack that's done on it, or there's the V3 does offer you shortwave, but you have to change to IQ branch something. I don't remember what it is by heart. Chuck, nice to have you on board. Got a Texan PL 680 in Montreal on the air. Frequencies it is quiet, but how come in the air range I seem to hear music and garbled talk anywhere from 118 to 137? That's because you're having overload, possibly from some of the very strong FM stations in Montreal. I wouldn't be surprised. FM broadcasts in Montreal, depending where you live, are very, very powerful here, and they overload easily any radio. Maybe you are getting that on the airband. I wouldn't be surprised. As for listening on the Texan PL 680 in Montreal, you probably have too much noise because there's a lot of stuff to listen to. Just to give you an idea, when I started the show, I was hearing VOA. Right now, I'm hearing BBC from Ascension Island on A11 810. To give you an idea, this is on a Texan PL 990X. It's not even on that. You're not even listening to this right now. You're listening to my Texan PL 990X because it's easier to tune for me. And it's the antenna. You need to have a better antenna. Maybe an MLA 30 loop would be a good match with the Texan PL 680. Or if you live in Montreal, there's tons of parks. Go out to a park with your radio, and you're going to see that radio come alive with so many signals suddenly. You're going to be amazed. It's really a question of noise is probably the number one problem for people having a lot of not a lot to listen to, basically. And like I said, the FM stations in Montreal are very, very strong. I'm not, I'm saying it's possible that you're getting, especially if it's garbled, you are probably getting FM radio breakthrough on the airband. Yeah, I guess so, man. I'm trying to figure out that thing. In UTC time, it's so when we get to so 05 to 08, they say, but it's technically 05 to 07. And at 3 a.m., we will be at 07. So yeah, they're wrong in their way of actually giving the details. It's 05 to 07. So they were wrong in reporting the UTC as 3 hours. You're right. Douglas, nice to have you here. KC5ZUE in Florida, currently 82. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. What else do we have? So the medium wave test seems that it's canceled. Joe Tyson, nice to have you on board from North Carolina, KM4WRQ. John Pickney, the guy said receive had been lost in shipping and offered a refund or a substitute radio. I picked the refund, which he gave, but he didn't send two scruffy low-end Sangians. Okay. The export, nice to have you on board. And what else was I was on? View DX subcarrier audio on your R30. I was able to by tuning off by 67 and using narrow FM. Are you sure that's possible? Because usually it's dedicated subcarrier radios that do that. You need to have a radio that has a dedicated subcarrier capability. I'm kind of curious now with what you're saying. Lee, nice to have you on board. Says very strange spring weather in the UK, sunshine and rain. That's spring is like that. Keegan says on Sunday the 7th, my dad, W9JEF, ordered a W6LVP loop antenna. Receive only arrived and picked up on Friday the 12th. Plan to test medium wave and shortwave in time for the DX test. Matt says I will try. Yeah, well, it seems that the test might be canceled from what we see. Yeah, so thanks, Kevin, for letting us know that the test has been canceled. Sad. Hope they're going to do it another day. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you here from Greenfield Park, Quebec. So apparently the test is canceled. Sorry, guys. Would have been fun I would have been listening in to that test for sure. That for sure. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's check it out here. Alan Boyle, nice to have you here. Joe Gomez, nice to have you on board from San Diego, California. We have Tarek, nice to have you here from Cairo, Egypt. Cool. TVD extra, yeah, extra hour for the barbecue. Absolutely, that'll be great. That will be great. Gerardo says Roddybow R108 with a random long wire, 75 feet antenna, picks up faintly, barely BBC 11810. Texan PL990X with the MLA30 is nothing, just noise. Spartan, nice to have you on board from West Central Michigan. About to get the first shortwave receiver. The 990X was going to get the 1889, but hoping that 30 plus will work good. I'm looking for a source for the 30 plus loop other than eBay. I know Amazon has it. And so wherever you buy it, you're going to get the 30 plus. Everybody's getting the 30 plus. I don't think there's any 30, the original 30 left anywhere. So, what else do we have? Tarek got an EQSL from Ascension Islands. Wow. For the BBC World Service. Cool. Donald Hosmer, drop a coax lead into your drink and you'll have one of those screwdriver antennas. Maybe reception will be better. Michael Thompson is MLA 30 plus / U-loop hybrid, came to life just getting like 30 feet from the house. Cool. Having fun with that. Keegan, first E-skip TVDX in 2005 or 2006 XHBC Mexicali, Mexico. Wow. Mobile Armored Strike Command. Having problem with finding the schematic diagram for the Spartan Model 626 shortwave radio. I've written down all 6 vacuum tubes with the radio. Some radios, it's difficult to find information. There are some old models that are more rarer models that, weren't really like dominant. It's difficult to find anything like schematics or even manuals. Marvin Mutz, good morning from the Japan Islands. You're right. We have tons of noise from digital devices and we are swamped by Chinese transmissions over here. Yeah, you guys over there, it's crazy. When I tune one of those SDRs from Japan or from anywhere in Asia, it's crazy. The bands are full of Chinese transmissions. Tons of them. Gerardo says the Texan PL990X does pick up BBC faintly with the long wire. It's like I said, for those that have a long wire or a wire antenna, remember that if you are in a quiet environment, a long wire will perform better than an MLA30. But in a very noisy environment, that's where the MLA30 will shine because it'll let you listen to stuff that the wire will not get because of the high noise. Daxfar74, nice to have you on board from Germany. Eric Cottrell, nice to have you here from Boston. Pretty cool to have everybody here. It's nice to have everybody saying hello. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you here. Kathleen says, actually, it was my first SDR received with the other net package 3 to 4 years ago. The board is similar with the original. Because if you have the cheap, basic RTL SDR, Kathleen, it doesn't receive shortwave. The step up from there is the RTL SDR V3. and that's the one that will receive shortwave. Keep in mind that it's a low-end SDR, so it has tons of images everywhere, but it works. Levi Nathan, nice to have you on board from Israel. M1MBZ, nice to have you here from England. Sheldon says, can't find anything posted yet that the DX text is being canceled. So I guess, Kevin, you got it from the IRCA group, because I saw your what you sent, but I can't open. It doesn't open. It just opens a blank. It just opens a blank page. So I don't know. So, but apparently the test might have been canceled. PLF Radio, will you receive new radios in the near future, or do you plan to have new ones? So 2 radios are on are coming to Montreal via China. One is that very weird non-branded little radio that is based on the silicon integrated 473435 chip. So it seems to be like almost a homemade project, because when you order, it takes a little bit of time, because it almost seems like the guy is building it to send you the radio. So that is on its way. Let me just check the tracking, see if I actually can get anything new here for that tracking. So two-step verification. Okay. Okay. What was the 388? Okay. That two-step verifications. So that is according to tracking. According to tracking, it says March 13th. In transit to country of destination. So it's on its way. And of course, I have a Malachite or Malahit DSP Chinese version. It says here, export customs declaration completed. And then it says departed from regional distribution center. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that for the 2 radios. So these are the 2 radios right now. For now, I don't know what's next. We're going to see what's going to be happening, and we'll be keeping an eye on what next purchase is going to be one. The Belka could be an interesting one for me. Any other, there's really not that many other things that excite me that much right now. So we're going to see as time goes by, for sure. Eric Cottrell, International Pi Day tomorrow. Yes, absolutely. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here from Scotland. I had Thailand and English on 9440 at 14 to Australia and Asia, and is Sony 7600JR with a good signal using the telescopic and a Sony AN71. Cool. I haven't heard Thailand in such a long time here. Need to try it tonight. David, KJ4CMY, 15-meter ham band was active today. Heard Antigua and Panama, as well as California. Cool. Richard Bittner, nice to have you here from North Texas. Pyric Nolan, nice to have you here from Ireland. Today was FT8 day with my Texan PL 880 and G5RV antenna using the FT8RX app. and copied Italy, Czech Republic on 10 meters. Cool. What else do we have? Let's go down slowly. Not too slow. Matt is seeing a ZD8HC on 15 meter FT8. That's Ascension Island. That's a rare one. We don't hear a lot about hams about in Ascension Island. It's like when we hear hams from Saint Helena. For those that remember Radio Saint Helena broadcasts, annual broadcasts, that was kind of cool. Michael Thompson says, "Yep, when my neighbor's solar panel shut, the noise drops big time." Yeah, that is the bad thing about uncontrollable noise. That the one that comes from your neighbors, that you got nothing that you can do about. Jim Gordon, I too had problems recently with dealers on eBay selling radios supposedly tested and working. They weren't. Returned them using eBay guarantee. Well, one thing for sure, if you're selling a radio, you gotta stand by with it. I always avoid, one of the things that I always avoid is the when a seller is like, not tested, not tested equals doesn't work. Come on, how hard is it to turn on a radio? Skip Array, nice to have you here. N2EI, yes, the cat. My cat trimmed beard while I was sleeping. He didn't like it. Kimberly, nice to have you here. K6YYL from California. M1MBZ says basic SDR starts from 24 megahertz and has no anti-aliasing filters. So yeah, that's the problem. It you can listen to the CB band, but below that it doesn't work. I had a couple of those. The one that you have to get is really the V3, and you got to be careful. Remember, the V3 is as a lot of fakes out there. So be careful to get the real one. Yeah, shortwave listening with an RTL SDR V3 is a tough one. But if you take out the images, that are plenty, it receives decently. But it's not, it would not be one that I would recommend to somebody that starts, because I would like them to start with something that is much better. And that's why I kind of push people to the SDR Play RSP1A, because I think that at that price, I think it's $119. For $119, you've got a really decent SDR. What's also nice, with the SDR Play RSP1A is no going crazy to installing that Zadig driver that you have to understand how to use it, because it's not a plug and play thing. You got to replace the driver that Windows wants to use. Then you got to understand that when Windows makes big updates, that driver goes away. He wants to replace it back with what Windows thinks is the correct driver. You have to reinstall that Zadig driver again. Yeah, if you're not very tech savvy, I think you stay away from the RTL SDR and you go straight to an SDR Play RSP1A. I think that's the best bet. And you got great performance from the start. You also have a wideband receiver that goes up to 2 gigahertz and works really well. Douglas says KC5ZUE made it home. Jill, the confusion the other day on my reception of 6105 was I was hearing Japanese internet. It said it was Chinese broadcast from the UK. Download a new app. Thanks for the info. Yeah, no, it happens. I mean, it happens. We have to be careful, because it happens to everyone to mix up a station, or it's just we like to correct. It's nothing. We got to be. We just have to understand that when we correct the um, the person for what they're listening. It's really just intended to make sure that the person knows that what you're listening to is what is the reality of what you are hearing. It's not, to in any way a bad thing. I've had a couple of people get off the channel because they said, well, I post stuff that I know I'm hearing, and you guys are saying, no, it's not that. Well, yeah, because we know it wasn't that. And, there was one guy who posted a video, and I said, no, look, it's Spanish. It's Spanish. Do you know what Spanish is? I mean, if there's a language that I think a lot of people kind of are able to know that it's Spanish, is really Spanish, because it's everywhere. And no, that is not a station in Spanish. It's that. Look, you posted a video. I listened. It's Spanish. Stop, being in your head, and remember that there are knowledgeable people in the group that they just want to help. They're not there to screw you or to belittle you. That's saying, well, haha, that's not what you got. No, that's not the way it is. We just want to tell you, no, what you're listening is this station in reality, so that you understand that, oh, okay, that's what I was listening to. Not everybody. I mean, I can easily differentiate Japanese from Mandarin and Korean easily. But I know that it's not everybody that does. For a lot of people, Korean and Japanese and Mandarin, they all sound Chinese. It's a question of getting used to it while listening to the bands over years and years, that my brain was capable of, over time, making a difference between each language. So when you listen to it, it's kind of easy to I can tell you immediately. It's like, no, that's Japanese. It's definitely Japanese. And of course, there's also the general knowledge. Anybody that listens to Shortwave a lot on the evenings in North America, that NHK signal on 6105 from Issoudun, France, it's a killer strong signal. I mean, imagine if they would just take the time to put a little half-hour English in there. We'd have a amazing time of a 30-minute English NHK broadcast. I find it sad that they don't want to do that, because I know a lot of us would listen to that. I would listen to the 30-minute NHK in the evening if they had that there. I don't know. Maybe we could write. They're there for like 2 hours, at least 2 hours, in Japanese. And for Central America, are there that many Japanese people in Central America? I don't know. It's something that you're broadcasting with a huge signal to North America, actually. Why not put 30 minutes of English in there? I'm sure there would be listeners. But yeah, it's crazy. TVDX, I'd have to go through my QSLs for the exact stations, but Corpus Christi, Houston, and Dallas were regular back in the analog era. Yeah, I remember hearing when I would DX TV, actually, the first time I did was by accident. On Channel 4, I was listening to a station, Channel 4 from Alabama. I still remember playing Jeopardy. There's Jeopardy, and it was like early evening. Eric Cottrell used SA7000 antenna I got with an AOR receiver was missing. The V-bolts for mounting. So you finally got the required bolts. Cool. Kevin, yes, from the group. Attorney advised them not to broadcast because of a license issue. They plan to try again in the fall. Okay, yeah, I got your... Okay, so here... so thanks, Kevin, for letting us know. So the exact post is... Did you see the date of the post, Kevin? Out of curiosity? Because I'm just noticing that the post, that the date at the top is 27th of April 2020. Are you sure you're not mixing it up with a new post? Because I'm trying to. Because have you noticed the date on the top right of the message? It says 27th April 20. So that's a year ago. Maybe last year they wanted to do a test and were advised against it, but tonight it is going through. Don't you think? I'm kind of wondering now. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that Malachite thing. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We'll see. We'll see. One thing for sure, I'm not getting the Russian one. I'm not interested. I'll spend money on other things. TVDXer, okay. SoCalf, nice to have you here. Bubba Schwartz, nice to have you here. Brady, KJ7GFT. Saw a episode on the Science Channel about the buzzer. On his 7300, it showed 0.462.5, which is weird. I thought it was 4625, which one is correct. Isn't it 4625? He also stated it was on AM. So no, it's not 0462. That's 462.5 kilohertz. It's 4.625. It's 4 megahertz. You are right, Brady. It's 4.625. I mean, that thing is. As for the mode, you know what? It's you hear it well on AM. Of course, the buzzer is easily identifiable even on AM. But I think most people, when there was a voice broadcast, when the buzzer stopped, I think it was an upper sideband. But you are right. It's 4.625. If he was tuning 0.462.5, he's completely off track. Did he at least turn on the volume and have it like buzzing so we could hear it on the show? Or because I mean, come on. PLF Radio. No, I haven't yet, but I plan on to in the next few days, because I know that it's something that that I want to do. I tried it a little bit. With the AN200 a week ago or two, and it seemed to be a very interesting one, actually, with the cable, plugging the cable into the antenna input. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to try out. So those videos are coming up. I need to do videos anyways for the medium wave band. So they'll be part of the videos for medium wave band on those, on both radios. Bubba Schwartz is in Miami, Florida. Nice to have you here. Beautiful weather there. Eric Cottrell has a couple of radio-related items Monday. Cool. Yeah, Sheldon, that's what I was mentioning to Kevin. It's an old date. So I think it's still okay tonight. 1090 kilohertz. It's easy to get messed up when we don't, when we see a post and you're like, oh, look at that, that's canceled. But we look at the dates. So Sheldon Harvey says, Paul Walker's posting on Medium Wave DX Facebook group is still showing the test for tonight. So we are having a test tonight from what it looks like. So 1090 kilohertz, guys. 1090, we sorted that out, I think. 1090 kilohertz from 05 to 07 UT. 2 hours of test. 05 to 07 UT. And you are right, Matt, when you said that even though there's a time change, it isn't going to 08 UT, it's going to 07 UT. You're totally right, because UTC doesn't change. So it's a 2-hour test from 05 to 07 UT. That's midnight Eastern time before we change our clocks. So that'd be a great test to listen to. You listen to the 2-hour test, change your clocks before going to bed. All's done. All's okay. And you'll be fine. And you'll actually be going to bed at 3 a.m. once all of that is done. Tarek, Radio Centilina, recall these days. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, no problem, Kevin. Sometimes it happens to everybody. It happens to the to all the best ones. So the test is going on tonight, guys. 1090 kilohertz is still on for tonight. So this is going to be cool. Don't forget to listen to that station in Tennessee with tones and IDs and Morse code and sweepers and all. It's going to be easy through the noise to get it. And I'm going to be listening in for sure. I'll be reporting it in the Shortwave group. That's for sure. For sure. So 1090 kilohertz tonight. The test is on for the station in Tennessee on 1090 kilohertz. Once again, 05 to 07 UT. That's midnight to 2 a.m. Technically 3 a.m. with a time change. Mobile Armored Strike Command's got a total of 25 QSL cards or letters of confirmation from non-directional beacons. Cool. I never thought of sending for those. Alessandro, nice to have you here. IZ2OAV from Italy. Nice to have you on board. Also, WB5ALF. So, Eric Cottrell says, I saw some people selling radios as parts only, not working while saying it works. They're trying to get around scammers abusing eBay. Stranded on a desert island, Jim, I would like to have a Texan PL990X. That if I'm stuck on a desert island, that's the radio I want to be stuck with. Then I'll have to figure out how I'm going to power it once the battery's gone. Hopefully, I get stranded with the radio and a rechargeable battery pack with solar cells. I'll be able to power it after that. Ingmar Klenhart, nice to have you on board. ETM Plus makes standard radios similar to SDR radios. All stations on the air can be skipped through very fast. Yeah, there's no visuals, but it's a nice way of going through the stations that are on the air. That's for sure. Catalan wants to use the RTL SDR V3 with the Raspberry Pi for a mobile station decoding FT8. Cool. Okay. Radio Lens, nice to have you on board from British Columbia. Xfire 74 has the SDR Play 2 Pro. Cool. Nice to have you on board. It would make a great portable RSP1A with the same spirit of the Malachite SDR. Yeah. The gaming laptop I have now has really good battery life. One of the things I will want to try this summer is to bring along either the RSPDX that I have, or even better, for its size, the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, very small, and in MLA30 and DX at Perry Island or any other place that I'll go, for sure. So this is going to be fun, and I think I can easily have that working for 3 to 4 hours on the laptop. I mean, of course, it's going to consume more battery because the laptop is going to be doing a lot more, but I think it's going to be at least a 4-hour battery life easily on my laptop using that setup. So that'd be fun to try it out in an environment where the noise level is very low already. Take care, John Pickney. Chris G7VEO, can we have our fix of Moscow nights? Yeah, I'll put it when the show ends. So just keep listening, and when the show ends. Sorry for Wednesday. What happened Wednesday with the show is I noticed that because the power bar I'm using, it's all big bricks, and because it's a power bar that's not made to have these big wall warts, I was kind of putting them in awkward positions for them to actually work, and hoping that it holds for at least a show. And the one with the multi-coupler actually stopped because it wasn't making contact properly. But when I replaced it, the power of the console came out. So what happened is the computer and the console that were actually talking to each other stopped talking to each other because of that little glitch with my stream software. So the only way that it would have come back is I would have had to restart the streaming software. And we were 3 hours in, so I thought, okay, it's time to say goodbye. But it was really that little glitch. It was a problem, unfortunately. So sorry for that on Wednesday. Matt says, I have RSP2 Pro, currently modballed, but available for backup duty. It got 3 years of good use until my RSPDX. And Michael Thompson, 2 things I like about this group: seeing all the radios and the spots, even if I can't read them at my shack. It's a lot of fun to see everybody's little post. I know that some people are shy of showing their little radio corner. Or they see somebody post something that, like, with huge radios and stuff, and they're like, yeah, well, it's that guy has $1,000 radios. I find it kind of a little I'm shy to actually show my 2 little radios in a corner next to the window. And you shouldn't, because I love whatever you have, even if you have one little portable. Show us where you put it. Show us where's your favorite little listening spot with that little portable. It's fun to see how people set up, how people just, have their little radio corner, their little radio room. Some of us are fortunate to have, man caves. I'm fortunate to have an office pretty much dedicated to everything that I want. But it depends on everybody, and I think nobody should be shy of showing whatever they have, even if it's just a little $20 portable in a little corner of the house. Why not? It's cool to see what everybody's doing, for sure. M1MBZ says, can detect the difference between Mandarin and Cantonese, but I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand Japanese, but I can make a difference, that's for sure. Lexfar74 doesn't like the Dragon Jammers or the Fire Drakes. Bubba Schwartz Finnish sounded strange to me and had some Hungarian words. Later found out to try to split 1,000 years ago. Yeah, some of the languages are very, very unique and very weird in the way they sound. Absolutely. Some are difficult to really make out. There are languages. One I have a hard time making a difference between I would say Romanian and Russian. I would have a hard time telling you if it was Russian or Romanian, honestly. Maybe after a few times, listening to the both languages for a while, I'll make differences. But these would be languages that I would have a hard time making a difference, honestly. Pelef Radio says there's an ephedry LAN-IQ SDR, which is like the Malachite SDR. Yeah. Well, we'll check it out. I have to, I'm taking a little break of spending, but there's going to be other radios. Skip Array, N2EI. Brazil is home to the world's largest community of Japanese descendants outside of Japan, numbering about 1.5 million people. Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow. Okay. So maybe that's why they're broadcasting towards that area. Well, they're actually broadcasting, they say, to Central America, but I guess it would probably is heard in Brazil. Tom the Xer worked for a Japanese company for 27 years, so I have no problem telling Japanese from Chinese. Bernie Dodge, nice to have you on board from San Diego. Blind Picker, nice to have you here. Rob, W0RAB in Connecticut. A blind ham. Kind of interesting. So that's why maybe they're broadcasting 2 hours in Japanese towards that area. Interesting. Keegan, 1/9 on June or July 2011 on Channel 3. I saw Jeopardy on a CBC station. So, interesting. Matt says, I got the ear for recognizing Japanese and Chinese from watching movies from those countries, but it took radio to develop an ear for Korean. So, yeah, it takes time. It takes time. So 1090 kilohertz tonight. The test is going on. Tune in from 05 to 07 UT. 05 to 07 UT. It's going to be on. It's going to be on the air. Just go here. Mobile Armored Strike Command Spectrum Monitor March issue is still available. Yeah, well, they're all available. You can have any issue you want if you want. People that just want to buy one issue, you can buy each for, I think, $3. Jerry loves the Manshite DSP SDR and his favorite portable. Douglas, thanks on everyone. I'm multilingual, including Japanese, 16 languages. Wow. The listing on net was wrong. Very much appreciate everyone quickly verifying internet was wrong. New app is great. Yeah, it's easy, and it's difficult sometimes also that it's difficult to sometimes make out what's the station you're listening to. It's like everybody that is reporting Sound of Hope from Taiwan, and I always tell them, no, that's the CNR jammer from China. And a lot of people don't accept that. A lot of people say, well, that says Sound of Hope everywhere. Yeah, but it's not Sound of Hope you're hearing. Nobody hears Sound of Hope in North America. It's a very weak, like 100-watt station. It's like very, very weak, doesn't have a lot of power. And every frequency it broadcasts on China jams. And China jams with the 500 kilowatt CNR1. That is what's making it all the way, especially if you hear it really well. It is China. It is not the Sound of Hope Taiwan. Jim Gordon says, I fondly remember NHK in English to Europe via Yamata Japan. Those were the days. They had superb QSL cards that you receive within a week of report. I still have the cards. I got several Radio Japan QSL cards. They were absolutely beautiful. And Japan was, in general, generous. They had a lot of stuff in the envelopes. You had stickers, you had QSL cards, you had all sorts of little things. I remember in the 80s, for those that today we have a lot of relays of stations. And basically the thing in that was in the 80s, that was mainly what you were listening to, is that most stations, even China, Radio Beijing, and before that was Radio Peking, they didn't relay. They were direct from the Chinese transmitters near Beijing. And so if you heard China, you heard China. If you heard Radio Japan, you heard Japan. The Radio Japan had a little bit of relays. They had the one from Gabon that they used. They had a few relays that they would use from time to time, but most of the broadcasts to North America from almost any station back then was direct from the country of origin. It made it a much more difficult task to receive some of these stations. I remember when I was hearing Japan or when I was hearing China, I was really happy because that was not something I would hear that often because of propagation. And I would always make a reception report because I was always thinking, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to send a reception report for to make sure that I get a QSL card. Joe Turco says, my RSP-ONA is connected to MLA30 Plus. Don't have much luck finding signals under 500 kilohertz. Is there anything to listen to in North America in that frequency range? The first thing you need to know is that the MLA30 Plus starts to degrade below 500 kilohertz. It's not the best performance there. Now, in North America, most of what you'll hear on the below 500 kilohertz is non-directional beacons from airports. So you'll hear these tones with Morse code identifications. So that's mostly what makes the long wave band in North America. People that live really close or closer to the Atlantic Ocean might hear transatlantic stations, but when you're more inland, you have more. You'll have non-directional beacons. There isn't that much. I received Navtex on 518 kilohertz. I've received a few things, but in general, it's a quiet band, mostly non-directional beacons. Next far 74, listening to 4625. So you're waiting for that special message that's going to be sent to you, next far. Chastank, nice to have you on board from Louisville, Kentucky. 61 Fahrenheit. Overcast. Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you here. RJDA Dakota, nice to have you on board, my friend. So yeah, the test is on 1090 kilohertz. So that's going to be cool. Sheldon Harvey, 1090 will be tough in the Northeast with WBAL in Baltimore. Normally dominates the frequency. Yeah, we'll probably be hearing the. I would guess we might be hearing the tones underneath that station, but we'll see what's gonna come out of there. Mark Douglas, nice to have you here from Niagara Falls, Canada. What else do we have? Mobile Armored Strike Command. Has anyone here with the RSP-ONA from RZR Play ever went negative on the main spectrum panel? What do you mean? Exactly. David EXer, midnight is late. It's I go to bed usually at 1 a.m. here, so I'll be okay for listening to it. Keegan says over there it's KAAY in Little Rock, Arkansas on 1090. Michael Thompson says sure, we'll pick it up in New Jersey. Shamali, Mr. Bale, can't hear 1090 killers because one of my local stations are on 1080. Yeah. When you have stations on a close frequency, it's difficult sometimes. Eric Cottrell says 1090 is wild here in Boston. Catalan says, since I have a shortwave call sign, I would like to get a reception confirmation from them on 1090 kilohertz. So they have a place. They have an email address that you can send for a reception report. They do require to have an audio clip or a video clip of some sort. Nick Amendo, nice to have you here from Romania. Well, Mr. Bell says, I think the AirSpy eats more power than the RSP. AirSpy gets a bit hot. RSPs don't get warm. Yeah. Anything that's based on the RTL chip, the RTL SDR chip, comes rather warm in general. So we'll see. I don't know which one would take more power when it's working, but yes, the RSPDX does stay very cool indeed. Brady, KJ7GFT, not sure if you were able to get this website up, but I found the episode for the buzzer on the Science Channel on Daily Motion titled Phantom Signals, Soviet Doomsday Warning. I recall seeing something that I've probably seen that I've probably seen that somewhere. Radioland says, sad experiences from my AirSpy Discovery, too many spurious signals. Main problem is it generates many strong level spurs internal, even with no antenna. So you're using the stock, the USB cable that came with it, because I would just make sure that it doesn't come from your computer. I mean, I have a lot of overload signals, but I can't say that I have that many spurious signals coming in from my computer, though. That's kind of an interesting one. So you're using the cable that came with it that has the torrid cores or the ferrites on the USB. Don't use a cheap USB cable with it. Really use that cable that came with it, because it is meant to lower the amount of noise. Because that's interesting. I would need to check out with the antenna disconnected what I could see on the display, but that's interesting. KW1161, nice to have you on board from rainy and cool Tucson, Arizona. What else do we have? Chimbali Mr. Bell hearing MFSK on 4560 upper sideband. Muscle Fit, nice to have you on board from Sheffield, England. It's a great job you do. I've learned a lot from you, and I've even bought some of the radios you have featured on the show. R20 being notable. I love it. Cool. Nice to have you on board. And I try to do my best to talk as fairly as possible, and so that if you make a choice, if you buy something, because of me, I want you to have a good experience with it, not have something that it might not be good. What else do we have? M1MBZ. I sometimes confuse Romanian with Spanish and Italian on the first few listens. Chastang, monitoring times, used to have section of readers' photos and their shacks. Yeah, that's always cool. I don't remember what bulletin it was. I'm wondering if it was in the Andes Andes, that bulletin that you could subscribe to from HCJB. I'm wondering if maybe it's in the magazine too. I remember hearing seeing some pictures of shacks of other people around the world. It was kind of interesting. Jim Gordon, important to encourage newcomer to the DX hobby. We all started out on simple radios, worked our way up or down. Absolutely. Muscle Fit. I'm going to get the PL368 when the domestic European version comes out. Incredibly useful channel you have. Thank you. Cool. It's a great little radio. I like it. It's going to be a nice one when it comes out. And I know that Connicom is supposed to have their version also. So that's going to be nice to see. David DXer, what's the call sign of the station for the DX test tonight in Tennessee? So the test tonight for the DX test is, I'm just going to bring it up here. Close the window. So the station that's going to be testing tonight in Tennessee is WENR in Inglewood, Tennessee. So WENR in Inglewood, Tennessee. We'll be testing on 1090 kilohertz tonight. And they will be having Morse code. They will have IDs. They will have tones, sweep tones. No music. So this is going to be interesting to see, and should be easy to listen, at least to hear it through. Even though we get some other stations, we should be getting something, that's for sure. Robert Cross, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Skip Array says Japanese amateurs always QSL and promptly. There is a saying in ham radio, worked the J's, it clears out the bureau. Oh, man. Musclefit says, in the 70s, used to listen to Radio Luxembourg under my blankets on the worst radio. Wow, cool. Cool. So, Robert Cross, do you know what some of radio stations should do? Make Radio Luxembourg radio station for bring back some memories. Yeah, that would be it'd be nice to have some kind of special broadcast. Jean-Marc Letz, nice to have you on board, no problem. Bienvenue de Strasbourg, Alsace en France. Toujours de bienvenue. Et toujours agréable d'avoir un ami français. What do we have? Charlie X, the new trim gel seems to be more cheerful and upbeat. No, I'm just Wednesday I was kind of tired of my day. Today I'm pretty cool. It's not bad. Chris 66 running late. Nice to have you here. We have what do we have? What do we have? Jumbo Jet just bought a Texan 380. What do you think about it? You'll have a nice little radio. You'll have a great little radio to listen to. And yes, you can ask for a sample copy. Don't forget of the Canadian International DX Club Bulletin, which is the messenger. Great little publication. And you can ask if you never asked before at cidxclub@yahoo.com. Mickey Dalmage is editor of the very interesting column, QSLs. I'm the editor of the utility column. I also have this month a review. One of the things that is nice about this bulletin is it is a club that covers everything. Radio in all of its aspects, whatever frequency, as long as it is really radio related, we talk about it. It's a really, really nice publication. Yeah, tomorrow. So the International Radio Report show will be playing tomorrow. So me and Sheldon Harvey and me co-host the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal. And you can, of course, stream live with your favorite app, like Soundgarden and so on. You can also, you just search for CKUT 90.3 FM. You can also, your smart speakers will work also. You can ask your smart speaker to stream CKUT 90.3 FM Montreal, and it should work. And last but not least, the ckut.ca website also has the stream. Now, we're not exactly sure of tomorrow what's going to happen because for some reason, technology is a complex thing at CKUT. And one of the first things that happens usually is the fact that if you listen to the archives, you might not find it this week for the first few days at the correct time, because the computer will not have shifted that time. So you might have to go into the next show, which is Free Kick, in order to listen to us there. And because of that, there's also another problem that I hope is not going to happen. Because the show is pre-recorded, it never happened before because we were live in the studio. So being live, we're always at the same time, which is 10:30 a.m. Eastern. But the show should now be at 14:30 UTC starting tomorrow because of the time change. The problem is we hope that the computers running the streams and the live shows are going to be on time for the 10:30 a.m. slot. So tomorrow, if you listen at 14:30 and the show isn't on, and what you should be hearing actually would be the Latin show. So if you hear Spanish rather than the International Radio Report, that means the computer didn't have the time change. That means you should listen to the regular 15:30 UTC slot for the show to play, which would be 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully that's not going to happen, but we got to be prepared for everything. And we have something new that's going to happen, and tomorrow the show is going to be posted there. We have decided to open a YouTube channel for the International Radio Report show. I've been for the past couple of weeks searching for a spot where we can post all the episodes that we have. So, CKUT has a 3-month archive of the show. I have 1 year of shows in my computer right now. So I was thinking it could be, even though the show is very dated, meaning that a lot of what you'll hear on the show is very specific to the week that we are talking about. There's still some general stuff we talk about that could be enjoyable to listen to. So I was looking for a place to post the full 52 shows now that we have created. We've decided to use YouTube. For that, I will convert the shows into a video format. And what I decided to do with the show is there will be, while the show plays, there'll be kind of pictures related to whatever we're talking about. So don't be surprised to see, when the solar report is there, a picture of the sun with the sunspots or stuff like that. Every subject we discuss will have a static picture. It's not going to be a video. It's going to be really a static picture that will change with each subject during the 30 minutes. And that will create a video with the audio of the show on it. And so the International Radio Report YouTube channel, is going to start having that. And during the next couple of weeks, I hope to be putting as many, if not all, of the 52 shows online on the channel. So we'll start off the channel with the last year of shows available there. So that is going to be an interesting thing to look at, because I think it's going to be cool. So it's a brand new channel, which means it doesn't have its branding, meaning you cannot, I don't have yet a URL that will be specific to it. We have to wait. I don't remember what's the minimum that we have to do for that to happen, but I will share with you guys the link to the channel that is right now a very basic channel that will have a little more on that, and we'll start having videos tomorrow with you guys. And do subscribe if you're interested in hearing our show. Do subscribe to the channel, and you'll be able there to hear every week our new shows that we post. And who knows, we've been discussing a little more. Eventually, if there are some last minute or really important news item that happens, we could, break in during the week and have a special video posted talking about an event that we couldn't, put on the show. And there might be some eventual, little live shows where we do radio related to the International Radio Report. So, it opens up a lot of possibilities that we can use. And I think that's going to be also nice to have that. And also at the same time, it gives an online presence of the show being available. and if something would ever happen, we could continue on as an online presence. So you can check that out, guys. I think it's going to be nice. So subscribe to the channel, and we're going to be the first video is officially going to be posted tomorrow, and will be tomorrow's show. So I will wait for it to play every Sunday. I will always wait for it to have played on CKUT before I actually post it on the YouTube channel. So don't expect to have a sneak peek before it actually happens. We'll let the live show play on CKUT, which is nice to listen to live from a radio station. After that, the video will be posted online for all to watch and see at their convenience over that YouTube channel. Okay. Go to receive control, type in 100, and you will see 0 on the spectrum panel. Okay. I'm going to check that out. What else do we have? M1MBZ says HTJB used to have a show called The X-Partyman. Yes, absolutely. I was a big fan of that show. Absolutely. Callan, what's the story with the original Malachite from Russia? Is it a clone of SDR Play? I don't remember that RS Play did a portable version. I don't know exactly what's the full story behind it. So there's a Russian version of the Malachite, whatever you want to call it, which is the real original portable one. There's the Chinese versions that are clones of the Russian one, but seem to be less good quality. And I hear a lot of people saying that it's a clone of the SDR Play devices that they put a screen on. So basically, if it is, I mean, the Russian version is a copy of the UK SDR Play devices. But I don't know. I have no idea. I need to have more information on that. But I did see that also. People saying, "Oh, it's an SDR Play that they've actually kind of cloned and put a screen on." So if that is true, they're not better than the Chinese, actually. And I wouldn't be surprised from Russia, honestly. So anyways, I don't know exactly what to think of it. Mickey Dalmich says Communications World. This always featured DXer's Shack in their magazine. So yeah, I remember seeing something about that. Ingmar Klenhart says his Bonito Meg Active antenna works absolutely perfect. It exceeds my expectations. Cool. That's the important thing. When we're happy about whatever we buy, that's the cool thing. That is definitely the cool thing. Okay. What else? Let's go down here slowly. Keegan says, I'll post a photo of my setup in the Facebook group. Yes, absolutely. Dmitry Larinovich, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Radio Lens says, tried all kinds of USB cables on the Discovery, even the double shielded. Yeah, but it came, because the Discovery came with one, eh? Use the one that they give. So it's kind of interesting. I'll check it out. Definitely Radio Lens, and I'll come back with you with that, because I'm kind of intrigued here. So 4 to 5 megahertz and 14 to 15 megahertz. I'll check it out, definitely. Mark Schmidt, nice to have you here from Maine. Muscle Fit, I'd be curious to learn where the CountyCom version of the PL360 and PL365 figure into things. I know Texan makes radios for other companies. Any ideas on this? So CountyCom and Texan have a partnership. And CountyCom actually supplies a lot of these portables to the U.S. Army, from what I understand. So they basically are really in a partnership with Texan, and Texan makes the radios, but brands them as Connicom for them to sell from their own company in California. And at the same time, that Connicom version is what goes into receivers for the U.S. Army personnel, from what I understand. Charity X emergency action message on 4724 yesterday. Vaults, nice to have you here from Latvia. Thomas Lane, are there any window pass-through where you can run your Stangian reel antenna from inside to outside without need to connect a coax? The problem is a coax is desperately needed. A coax is desperately needed for a very simple reason, is that it removes all the noise that would be created from inside your home. That's why the best way, if it's not too noisy, it's going to work if you just pass through a wire. But the fact that there's a lot of noise inside, if you have a noisy environment inside your home, that coax is going to remove that, because the shield is going to prevent that noise from reaching the center connector, the antenna itself. I like that. Bernie Dodge says, don't just ask for a sample copy of CIDX. Just send $25 and get it for 3 years. It's worth it. Now, that is exactly what it is. Absolutely. He's totally right. Yes, Eric Cottrell is the editor of the ham column. This month will be a nice ham in pineapple pizza recipe. Steve Miller, tonight's WENR test will let me bring out my old Radio West great little loop to null offending AM stations. Well, you know what? That is tonight going to be the perfect time for me to take the Texan PLS 990X in my AM 200 loop and put them together to get that station. Hi, Comic 40s. Nice to have you here. Dimitri, speaking about radio questions for you, did you get the Russian SDR receiver and how it works? No, I got the Chinese version, and I don't have it yet, so we'll have to wait. MStack says, update, the change the date thing on the URL for IRR only worked for all October. Now it doesn't. Oh, well. Yeah, because, I'm pretty sure that they want to make sure that they remove all of those. They probably have very limited storage at the station there. Mobile Armored Strike Command, WENR used to be the call sign for what is now WLS in Chicago, Illinois. Oh, really? Huh. Cool. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Damage, congrats on the new IRR channel. Time for you to write and record a new theme song to avoid copyright. Yeah, for now, the show will remove that song. We will remove that song from the YouTube channel. So that it's not going to be monetized anyway, because we need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000, it's going to be a nice place to we're going to have so much more possibilities actually there. The nice thing about it is also that it's going to be the live shows and everything. It's easy to access. I mean, it's going to be better. It's kind of also a backup at the same time for the live shows, the CKUT shows and everything. And I've had a hard time. It's so funny because me and Sheldon have been playing around with putting up a banner on the channel, and they've changed the way that banners work on YouTube channels. We're having a hard time actually having a proper banner to put up at the top of the channel because now they take into context all the different size of screens of devices. So it's kind of why does it look like that? So, anyways, I'm going to play with that tonight, and we'll have some nice banner at the top. If and Sheldon is the co-manager also, so he can play around with that at his end too if something happens. But I think it's going to be a great thing. But for now, what we're going to do is the show is going to just start directly at the show. Because one of the biggest problems of the, if it was just for copyright, because I mean, the copyright claim is not a problem on YouTube. They just tell you, there's a copyright issue here, but they don't, they don't, it's not, they don't punish you for that. It's just that you can never monetize. The problem with the song, which is bigger for me, is it sometimes blocks the videos from being viewed in certain countries. So it happened on my channel quite a few times when there's some music. They tell everybody, this video might not be seen everywhere. And I get people come back and say, hey, the live show from last week, when I click on it here in the UK, it says unavailable. Yeah, because they blocked it in your country because of a song that plays in it. So I don't want to have that issue. I don't want to have the video being blocked in any country because of the song. So we're just going to avoid the song at the beginning. We're just going to start it. Yeah, we could. I suppose we could find a way to do some kind of song for it, or I don't know. But yeah. For now, we're just gonna avoid having any intro song for the YouTube part, at least. Eric Cottrell, no content and 18 subscribers. 19 now. Yeah, Vaults. Whoops. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? Okay. So I'm just going to go down and so Vaults. I was at Vaults. So the FT8RX app. Yeah, I noticed the NTP time sync part also is like, what is it actually doing? Because I tried it also. I thought, oh, cool, it's going to sync and it's going to be perfect. Then it's not. You actually have to play with these little the seconds so that the delta works. So I have an okay setting when I actually are able to play around with the delta setting to make it the best possible. But it probably needs a little fix there to make sure that it works a little better. Bobby subscribed. What else do we have? What else do we have? Oh, God. Keegan. With Seinfeld, yeah. KW1161, the reason I'm looking for a standalone FID remodel over the LHI is because of the murky background of the software. So Matt says it's a little more, Yeah, it's possible, Vaults. Absolutely. And they might be just based on the same chip, for sure. I don't know. Actually, it's people, because, people go fast on description. So people, I've heard so many people like, oh, it's an SDR Play clone. But like you say, a lot of these chips are not made by the company that makes the device. So it's not necessarily a clone. If you use just, it's like the ones, everybody using the SI 4734 and doing those little radios. I mean, it's not a clone. They're just using the same part of the basic of the device, for sure. Yeah, but it's too early here, Carl Icon. Tonight you're going to hear stuff on 1090. You're going to see. Take care, Catalin. Always nice to have you on board. Always nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Yeah, when the show ends, Wasco Nights. Mark Schmidt says, my granddaughter and I have been enjoying MT Texan PL 380 and 880. Cool. David, nice to have you here from Barcelona. EA3IEK, EA4998URE SWL. Hope you are well, my friend, from Barcelona, Spain. Oh yeah, I forgot to check that TikTok video, Jerry, the other time. MStax 28 plus on the IRR YouTube channel now. Cool. That's nice. Michael Thompson loves his ICOM ICR IC7300, but it still uses RSPDX is what I use to surf. Interesting. Cool, Jerry DX. So thanks, guys, for subscribing to the International Radio Report channel. It enables us to also have a lot of people that will be following us. So not bad. 28 subscribers for a channel that is not even yet operational. Just at its most basic way of doing. So if you like the International Radio Report, once again, please do subscribe. I'll share the link here once again. Last time. This is where you could go and subscribe for the International Radio Report show. One of the things also that's nice with a YouTube channel is that we'll have statistics. You know, on CKUT, we have no idea. No statistics of anything. And so by having, you know, even the stream, even when we looked at the streaming, you know, they don't even have, I don't even know if they would have a possibility of letting us know, you know, how many people actually do stream our show or download it from the archives. You know, that's something we would enjoy knowing. How many people have streamed, downloaded the archive in a week, for example? How many people total? That would be nice to have as a statistic, you know, but we don't have any of that. We have so many things. It's you know, something that you just wonder is like, yeah. So by having that YouTube channel, we'll at least have statistics on the YouTube channel. We'll see how many people listened, and we even have statistics. What's nice is the statistics. The statistics are very complete. So it's how many people are listening, for how long they've been listening, and so on. We'll know that, you know, there are people watching and or listening in, at least. So that's for sure. Matt, I saw your question about why not a podcast. So here's the thing. Podcasts it's not free. There's no free platform to have a podcast. If the free platforms for podcasting are extremely limited. If you have, you know, a certain amount of users listening to your podcast, what happens is that you have to pay a monthly fee. And the more people listening, the bigger the fee for that to happen. So what happens is that you have to pay for your podcast to be up there. And at some point you're like, yeah, okay, no. You know, I don't even know how many people are going to watch. And if a lot of people start listening to the show, you start having a high monthly bill to just keep up the show there. So by doing it in this way, having a video on YouTube with the audio and switching pictures depending on the the news story, well, it's free. YouTube is a free platform. So we can put everything there. We could put as many shows. We could have as many people watching as, we don't care. You could have 1 million people watching every day. It's not costing us anything. In fact, it's not only not costing us anything. If we had 1 million people a day, we'd actually could monetize it. But the idea is not to monetize here. The idea is to really have a platform where we could actually have those available, and that we don't have to pay anything. We don't want to have to pay for it, because every podcast situation I looked at a lot of them. Yeah, okay, if you have 3 people watching per month or listening per month, yeah, it's okay. It's, the free platforms are fine for that. But a lot of them actually will have all sorts of limits, like your podcast cannot be more than 15 minutes long. And we got a 30-minute show. The one that was the most interesting, the free version was 15 minutes long. And the first paid version was not even at 30 minutes yet. So, it's the crazy. It's like, yeah, but we have a 30-minute show from the start. And if we have enough people watching from there, then it starts getting expensive just for a podcast. We are doing this and we're not paid for it. So we're looking for a platform that doesn't cost anything. And YouTube was the platform. It won't cost anything. We'll be able to share the show with everybody. So, kind of cool. So thanks for everybody that has subscribed to the International Radio Report YouTube channel. We are at 43 subscribers. That's kind of cool. 43 subscribers, no content. So, that's going to be nice. And it's going to be that's going to be fun to be on there, even though it's yeah, I know it's mostly an audio thing, but I thought about it, and we'll have shifting pictures depending on the news item that we talk about. Vault says, I'm not sure why would someone would go to such podcast platforms considering the size of YouTube audience beside the costs. Yeah, but there's I guess there's an advantage. There's a lot of podcasters using these platforms of podcasting, so there are some advantages, I guess, and people don't want to have that, don't want to have the hassle to create a video. Just having, an audio thing going on is enough. So, but you're right. And that's kind of interesting. Robert Osborne, nice to have you on board from Niagara Falls. Matt says there were 6 subscribers when I clicked on the link and signed up, but I wonder if I was beaten to the punch by a few folks here already. Yeah, you know what? One of the things that is interesting about it is that these numbers are not always very accurate. I remember looking at my videos on the Shortwave channel, actually, and looking at the stats. And you could, basically see the likes and dislikes go up, and it was like, okay, I got 0 views, but I got 24 likes. Something's not right here. What else do we have? Human 721. Got my new radio. How far can you receive a 100 kilowatt signal? From all over the world, man. All over the world. Even a 10 kilowatt signal can make it all over the world. Matt, you can listen to podcasts in the background and using mobile devices. That's true, but you can't listen to YouTube on a mobile without staying on YouTube. That's one advantage of podcast. But you can very easily download YouTube audio. So you can download the show in audio format from the YouTube platform without any problems. What else do we have? What else do we have? Laura Robertson, nice to have you here. KO4DFJ. Nice to have you on board. 50 subs now. Cool. Thanks, guys. Carl Icon, interesting. WENR AM 1090 appears to be broadcasting classic rock now with a call sign 104.9 FM, The Mountain. A lot of stations have the possibility to or have a FM outlet with their AM stations. It is extremely common that both stations are on FM and AM at the same time. Michael Thompson made contact with Australia from New Jersey with 70 watts using FT8 on 40 meters just this morning. I don't know. I haven't downloaded audio from YouTube in such a long time that I'm out of the game of what to use to download the YouTube audio of anything. But there's a lot of ways to do it that work. Jeff K. Do you have any SDR Mac experience? N2ZNN. I have never used an SDR on a Mac, so I can't really help you on the Mac. But I know that some are using SDR. The problem, if you're not using anything like Parallels or whatever to have a virtual Windows setup, Mac SDR software is very limited. So having a virtual way of doing it is maybe better. Jeff King, nice to have you here from Florida. So you're watching the live Shortwave show, and we are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And let me just check. Emails to see if anybody said hi. Seems to be rather quiet. And this side of things. Oops, one email came in. So we have Stephen that is in the state of California. Saying hello, enjoy your live show. And he's got a series of questions. So I would like to answer it if possible today on the live show. So question number one. I heard that stations change their frequencies twice a year. When does this happen? And why do they do it? So shortwave, unlike AM or FM radio, is dependent of the change in seasons because of the ionosphere not being or not having the same properties depending on the time of year that we are in. So longer days of summer, shorter days, longer nights of winter makes some frequencies good in the summer, better in winter, or bad in the winter or bad in the summer. So stations need to adapt to that. They need to shift around their frequencies they use in order to be able to stay on the air and heard in the target areas. So today we have 2 shifts per year. But in my old days of shortwave in the 80s, We actually had 4 changes a year because every season has its schedule change. Technically, that was a better way of doing it because you could adapt more easily to each season. The problem is 4 times a year was a big, a big headache for broadcasters because it was always a complex thing to do, and it was a lot of changes. So at some point, they agreed on just 2 changes per year, summer and winter schedules. It's not as efficient because when you get near the equinox, March, April, both the summer and winter schedules are not necessarily the best at their best. They tend to increase and get better as the season goes on. But it's easier on the broadcasters because they only have to do this twice a year. So the shift in schedules is coming up this month, actually. So there's A season schedules and B season schedules. Right now, we're at the B20, which is the schedules of winter that started last October of 2020. The schedules coming up are A21. So A for the first schedules of the year, 21 for the year 2021. So that is the last Sunday of March and the last Sunday of October that the shift goes. So this year, we are going to go to the summer schedules Sunday, March the 28th, 2021. So in a couple of weeks, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be changing our schedules and having the frequencies for the summer schedules. So this is to adapt to the changing propagation characteristics of the ionosphere depending on the season and the time of the year. Question number 2 that our friend has is, I have a old Sony 7600 receiver that I purchased more than 10 years ago. And I was wondering if all the radios that you are testing, if anyone would be a better radio today, if any of those radios are, if any of those radios need to be purchased, are better performers and increase my listening experience or not. I've read a lot about the 7600 online. It seems to be a good radio. But I was wondering if maybe after 10 years, a new radio is better. No, a new radio will not be better than a 7600, which is, by the way, a very, very fine portable. The Sony 7600 is a great portable receiver. You will not have any advantage of a newer receiver. I always say it, if you have a good portable already, even if it's 20 or 30 years old, you don't need to invest in anything new because you won't. There's nothing that, say my Texan PL990X, there's nothing that radio is going to receive that you won't hear on your 7600. It is different. Maybe, one radio could have better sound quality and depending on all this stuff. But honestly, if you are in the idea of purchasing a radio because it might be better, you are going to waste your money because you're not going to get something that is better. The only thing I would think of that could be interesting for today is if you would like to have, those new SDR receivers like you see here in the background. Software-defined radios are kind of fun to play with and a very different game also at the same time. But apart from that, changing from a portable to another portable, you're not gaining, not with a Sony 7600, you're not gaining anything better, really. So if you do buy a newer radio, it's most purely for the fact of, I want to have a new radio more than anything else, honestly. Let me just go back into the email. So, question number 3. I can receive sometimes during the day and the night the time stations on 10 and 15 megahertz. Sometimes it is a woman's voice and sometimes it is a male voice. Sometimes both are mixed in. And I was wondering, what does that mean? Why do they use two different voices for the time stations? So that's because here in California, you're easily hearing both the Colorado station, WWV, and the Hawaii station, WWVH. So in Hawaii, they use a female voice. In Colorado, they use a male voice. And that has been done on purpose so that you can actually differentiate or identify which one you're listening to. And when propagation is good on both sides, well, you're getting both stations at the same time. And you will hear the male voice first and hear the female voice. No, the female voice first and the male voice after. Is it that? I'm mixed up now. It's the female voice first and the male voice after. So when you hear both, is because you're hearing Hawaii and Colorado at the same time. So this is the fun part. Here in the East Coast, it's a little tougher to get it, but from time to time, I hear the female voice under. My best frequency for hearing Hawaii is 15 megahertz, and about this time of day, in the late afternoons, local here in the East Coast, that's what I'll get. Question number 4. I was a subscriber of Monitoring Times, and I am looking for a good magazine. Do they still exist on the radio hobby? Is there something similar to Monitoring Times? I've went to my local bookstore and cannot find anything on radio. So if you like the Monitoring Times, there's a similar publication, but it is electronic. It is not paper copy, and it's called the Spectrum Monitor. The Spectrum Monitor actually has a lot of the editors from Monitoring Times era, and I find it has the same feel that Monitoring Times actually had. And you just have to go to the spectrummonitor.com. And you can purchase one magazine for $3, I believe, or subscribe for a full year. Remember that their subscription, the way that they work is that it starts from January to December. So if you subscribe now in March, you're going to have the January to March, because apparently it's very difficult to subscribe people and have them subscribe and get in the middle of the year. But it's a very nice publication, honestly, to look at. And another little publication you should look at, we have here the Canadian International DX Club, which is issuing a monthly bulletin called The Messenger. And you can ask for a sample copy at cidxclub@yahoo.com. And if you like, well, it's inexpensive, $10 a year, $25 for 3 years, and you got a lot of radio information in there, honestly. So check that out. So thanks for your questions, my friend. Hope that they answered. That was Stephen in California. In an email. Sorry, guys. Okay, what else do we have? Dennis, nice to have you here. Robert Schaffer, nice to have you on board. OBS Studio makes a great client for ham radio PC. Manage audio, rig controls, etc. Robert Shine, nice to have you here. N3VXT. Joe Summerlin Newhouse, nice to have you on board from Brazil. Pretty cool. Nice to have everybody here. Robert Shine, grilling and chilling, got my radio in this video. Cool. Human721, is it normal with analog radios that if there are a lot of stations close to each other, they all blend together? It's not a question of an analog radio per se. It's not more of a problem on an analog radio than on a whatever other type of radio you use. It's more a question of the selectivity of the radio. So depending on the price, the radio has more or less selectivity. It is capable of separating more or less the different stations that are very close together. So a lot of analog radios have that problem because the circuit doesn't handle very well, and the bandwidth that they actually have for what you're listening to is a little large. So the adjacent signals actually blend in with whatever you're actually listening in. It's less of a problem today because of the fact that because there's less stations on a same spectrum, often they're far apart enough that there's no problem. Although it can happen. An example here is since Radio Marti has been using 6125 in the evening, it's been blasting Radio Romania 6130 that's right next to it. And so that's been a problem. So it's not necessarily an analog radio problem. It's more of a problem with a radio that doesn't have good enough filters to separate the different channels from each other. Robert Osborne, any of you guys have experience with no ground plane antennas, good or bad experiences? Interesting. What else do we have? Voislav says, have you tried the Belka DX receiver? Nope, but it's one that I'm thinking of as a future purchase. Canadian radio TV guy, nice to have you here. The voice behind WWVH is Jane Barb, the Bell telephone lady. Oh, really? She's the same. James Barb, American voice and actress and singer. She was known as the Time Lady for the recordings she made for the Bell system and other phone companies. MStax, anyone ever tuned to 60 kilohertz WWVB signal? No voice, but interesting digital noises. Yes, some have. By the way, there was apparently a problem if your radio clocks weren't synchronizing. I read a post somewhere that in the past few weeks they've been running lower power than usual because of a problem. But now they're apparently back to full power. Chaz Tank says, I have a boatload of monitoring times. They're from the early 90s in a box. Robert Osborne misses Radio Electronics magazine. Don't forget, guys, if you are looking for old magazines, one of the things that is amazingly cool is worldradiohistory.com. I'm going to post the link here. Go there, guys. You will have for years of magazines to read, all old magazines. Monitoring times, they're all there. Popular communications are all there. There's a tons of radio magazines all to the way back to the 20s and 30s. It's really a lot of fun to check that out. So go there. Worldradiohistory.com is really an amazing place for magazines of the past. There's a UK publication, Radio User. I like it. Google to find it out. So UK publication called Radio User. Kind of interesting. So good evening, my friend, whose name I cannot read. Dan, nice to have you here from Ohio and 8WJZ. What else do we have? Sheldon says someone was looking for a schematic for a Spartan 626 radio. You can find it here on Radio Museum. So that's cool. No problem, my friend. Nice to have you here. Can you let us know just what country you're from, out of curiosity? 13HN0010 broadcast. Nice to have you here from Germany. MStax, my clock sometimes gets garbled or partial WVB signal. So the seconds link, but the time or date are way off. So nice to have you here, Heinz. Tony Magny, nice to have you here from Ireland. Radio user, great monthly magazine. Practical Wireless is another one. One of the biggest problems with European magazines in North America is the price. They cost a fortune here to get them. I can tell you that. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. So nice, welcome aboard. It's nice to have everybody here. Let's check out what we have in terms of any pirates reported. So the International Raider Report YouTube channel now has 54 subscribers. Thanks, guys, for checking that out. And we'll be posting the shows over there. HF Underground. Anything reported in pirates right now? Let's just see. It's Saturday, and Saturday is often pirate time. So nothing is actually reported right now. Anything else that we can check out? Let me just check the 25 meter band a little bit. Brazil coming in really well on 11780. Look at that signal. I would give a medal for that guy's fast speaking. There's some sport happening there. Radio Vanny Cuba on 11760. It's interesting to see the different signals that we hear on the different bands. Let's check out 31 meter band, 10,000 and down. So here's WWV coming in quite well on 10,000 kilohertz right now. Kamezi 1976. The test tonight is in AM, on AM band. 1090 kilohertz. It's on the AM medium wave band. From 05 to 07. 05 to 07 UTC. What else do we have? Thomas Lane, the Brazilian announcer, sounds like he has too much caffeine. So, let's hear.
Pentecost. It was Pentecost.
And the dean or whatever he's called of the school was addressing us, and he said, "Some of you are going to be ministering."
Good signal from WRMI 9955 kilohertz.
I knew inside me. I knew it was me. I had to be. He said, "I'm in."
Hector Vasquez says Mexico had a great signal last night on 6185 Radio Educación. Carl Icon still monitoring 1090 kilohertz via web as the R appears to another AM station broadcasting on top of it. Yeah, but at the nighttime it's different. What else do we have? Spain, pretty good on 9690 kilohertz in Spanish. Radio Exterior de España.
Otro capítulo más. Lo primero, ayer la Real Federación Española de Piragüismo convocaba a los medios de comunicación para las que anuncian
9690, radio exterior.
De K1200 en el mar de Trasoma, cerca de Avilés, en Asturias, para elegir al K4 para los Juegos Olímpicos. La última hora fue...
So this is Brazil. It's not very strong, but 9665. There's a very weak Brazil station. I know because it's actually off at 9664.8, which is typical of that Brazilian there. 9650, Radio Guinée is here. Coming from Africa. Greece, very, very powerful signal. WRM on 9420. WRMI with music on 9395. World's Last Chance on 9330. Kind of interesting to hear all these stations. Propagation seems to be okay. So there's a lot of little stations coming in here and there. Kind of nice. Kind of nice. Yep, I'm tuning the bands. Absolutely. Keegan will have to try the 1090 kilohertz on the W6LVP loop. And kind of cool to see all the different stations. No pirates right now. No pirate activity. Anything on the ham bands? Let's check out 40 meters. 40 meters. 7100 lower sideband and up. We'll see what's there. So that's on the. I'm tuning on the Texan PL990X. By the way.
No reason at all. A lot of our
7157.
I mostly fascinated the solar than the new one, so they're not doing much. They're not gonna do too long on the year, you know. 5 and 7. 57, my name is Al, okay?
7181.6. Some station making contacts. Interesting to tune around with the radios. Really cool. WENR is located in Tennessee, Canadian Radio TV guy. MStack says, here on the West Coast, it's mostly noise and all China all the time or religious stuff. But there's a lot more. You have to listen at the right time and at the right moment because you can get a lot more than just that. For sure.
It's always something. Thanks so much. 7-3 for now. QRZ, W8 Alpha, Lima Papa, many thanks for the contact, boss. 73 and good yet. Before Yankee 2 November next flight. Kilowatt 2 Alpha Romeo.
7187.
Okay, November Papa 3, right, Florida. Alpha 2 Kilo.
Echo Alpha 2 Kilo
Llamar y muy bien recibido.
from Spain
Señal por Zaragoza, nordeste
on
de España.
7187
José, adelante.
lower sideband. So some AM activity on 40 meters from Europe. If you guys are looking at European stations, 40 meters seems to be interesting. Okay, let's go ahead here. Michael Thompson's got 7187. 7187. Victor Vasquez tuning the band's futures cool in live shows. Robert Shine, what is my favorite SDR selection? What do you mean exactly? Favorite SDR selection? You mean software or SDR or both together? What else do we have? Foxman 362 was picking up Cuba around 1 a.m. in Utah. Yeah, M Stacks. I'm waiting for the comeback of the amateur club for the Zoom ham that the Zoom ham license that I have to actually. The amateur club has its of course its lessons that I have to follow. So I'm waiting for a comeback. I still haven't heard from the guy. I've registered on the website from the amateur club. Still haven't heard from the guy. So I hope that it's going to happen for sure. SVO Rock, nice to have you on board, says, was actually get the China time signal on top of WWVH here in Hawaii. Weird. That's interesting. Matt, question for SDR Play folks. Do you find that manual tuning in SDR Uno turns off your medium wave FM filter? I've been experiencing that lately, and it didn't happen in nearly 4 years of using SDR Uno to me. That's interesting. I haven't noticed anything personally. On my side, I haven't noticed anything, at least. So I don't know. Foxman just got Senji and ATS 818 CS off of eBay 2 days. So yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff. What else do we have? Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Says you get the European hams very easily and clear. For me here in the UK, I need very good propagation to get North American hams. Yeah, a lot of the ones that I get from Europe, though, are the ones that have that kilowatt power. But I hear Europe quite often. 20 meters in the late mornings here in Montreal, and 40 meters around this time is usually pretty good for European hams. Well, nice to have you here. Keegan has 14670 CHU, S1 out of S9. I'll try it, but I never hear it. I heard it once with a very strong signal, and it was Eric Cottrell that had actually mentioned it. But overall, this is what I get. Let's try 7850. Nothing there. And the one that I get all day long is 3330.
That's 30. That's
That's 3330 kilohertz. James Johnson, RFI so bad here. Cannot hear anything on shortwave. Yeah, you need to try an MLA30 loop. 18165. Kimberly's on 18165. Let's try it out. I'm gonna try it out, Kimberly. 18165, and press that upper sideband button. See if I hear anything. Kimberly, K6YYL, calling CQ on 18165. Matt Tengel, I think there must be some weird setting in SDR. No, I may have checked off. Yeah, it's weird because I don't have that problem. I really don't have that problem. Nice to have you here from Florida. David, what else do we have there? David says, "Wow, Jill, I'm already familiar with you receiving Radio Stereo de España in Spanish, but I still had not heard an EA Spanish-speaking ham station from your QTH. EA2 is northern Spain." Yeah. Yesterday I was hearing Lou, EA, what is it called? I always forget, but EA3 Japan Echo, I think. Lou, which always comes in like real loud at the top of the just like below 7200. He's always around 71, 98, 97. And I was hearing him real well. Actually, I was hearing him outside on the balcony while I was taking a little bit of fresh air as it was warmer. Eric Cottrell, I could listen to CHU or WWV, WWVH all day. I often put these stations in the background at very low volume sometimes when I do stuff. Let's try the WWV stations. So 25 megahertz, nothing. 20, nothing. 15, it's on 15. Let's see if we hear the woman voice in there. At this time, sometimes it does. So we'll see if I can hear the WWVH, even if it's weak. And the noise, the sound quality. The sound quality. Not really hearing the woman's voice. And then there's 10 megahertz. This one is 10 megahertz. And of course the rest probably I don't hear. 5,000 is still too early for 5,000 kilohertz. So kind of interesting. SDR radio or device or dongle. I would say that my favorite right now is still the RSP devices. So in my case right now, the RSP-DX is, if I have a go-to Once again, we talked about Desert Island Radio earlier. How about a Desert Island SDR? Well, the RSPDX, definitely, and that would be the my go-to Desert Island SDR. Mainly because it has also the wide frequency coverage, which the AirSpy does not. Amstacks, Kiwi SDR to the rescue. Here's things not normally hearable in one's location. Yep, at least there's that possibility. That's for sure. That's for sure. So Robert Osborne is receiving 3330 CHU, just out. Transmitter site is just southwest of Ottawa. What else do we have? EA3IEK says, not in front of my IC7100 now, but one day I'll have to get on the air and see if you can pick me up. Listening to WWV all day raises your IQ. Oh, man. Super Bowl Channel 6, Aster Hector Vasquez. Let's check it out. 27025. Seems to be very, very quiet. I'll go through the CB band. Wow, all 40 channels. Really nothing. Seems like it's extremely quiet. Let's check out the 20 meter band. See what's up there. Oh, not a lot happening on the 20 meter band though. 20 meters seems to be very, very, very quiet at this time. FlexBand 362 from Utah. Listening to CHU helps for learning French. Well, you can know your numbers, that's for sure. That's for sure. Jay Watterson 69, nice to have you on board. Listening to Shell helps to learn French. Oh, man. It's that it's one of the pictures I've seen posted on my Facebook group, which Facebook page, sorry, is the first picture is a girl that has a small plant, and she puts the radio next to it, and she says, plants grow faster. Plants like to listen to and grow faster when they listen to country music. And then the next page, you see the same plant that has grown and is going towards the radio, and on top it says, must reach the off button. Yeah, pretty funny. What is the Super Bowl channel? The Super Bowl channel is called like that. It's channel 6 of the CB band, which AKA is 27025 kilohertz on the radio. It is the place where all these crazy kilowatt CBers hang out when skip happens, and has been nicknamed the Super Bowl channel. 27385 lower sideband channel 38 is also known as a good place to listen to for a skip on the CB band. For sure. Robert Osborne got WEWN 15610. Yeah, that one is usually a good one here. I'm going to check it out here. 610. It's coming in. It's weak. It's pretty weak today. Pretty weak. Nothing much. What is there on the 19-meter band? Apart from WWV, I ain't hearing much on the 19-meter band right now. Voislav has 6826 kilohertz, very weak CW. 6826. Let's check it out. What do we hear? I hear it. What is that? 68. So if you don't have a CW, tune 6825 upper sideband. Indeed, there's a Morse code station there. What is that? Is there any info on that station? Let's now do a little bit of detective work, guys. 6826. Oh, that's interesting because here it says, and it's the time. It's M12 spy number station. Oh, let's check Preom. It's a number station. Preom. Let me check it out. So today at 22. Yeah, 2240. And we're at 2246. This is the Russian spy number station in Morse code. 6826 CW or 6825 upper sideband. That's what I'm hearing. I'm getting it. It's not very strong, but it's there. So we are hearing the M12 Russian spy station in Morse code. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Quebec Z76 Super Bowl channel, extremely loud, 27025. By the way, that Morse code signal comes from around the Moscow area in Russia. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Yeah, some people have heard the PIP on shortwave. As Vero O'Rourke says, Voice of America been using 21620. Radio France International been using 21580. Or yeah, 21580, I think. I heard it one day when there was a lot of sunspots. Danielson. Nice to have you here, Daniel, from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you very much. Nice to have you on board from Sunday morning. Paul, nice to have you here from Southwest Michigan. And, yep, Sunday in Australia. Nikki Dalmich says K is 7. Things are active. Yeah, there's supposed to be a possible up to G1 geomagnetic storming possibilities today as a solar wind will hit. So right now, as we speak, K index is at 3, so it's active. So that means that there could be some unsettled conditions tonight and tomorrow due to a coronal hole. Hector Vasquez, that CW Russian signal is cool. Tony Magnier, Morse code strong here on 6825, upper sideband. As we are time to play Midnight in Moscow and SSB Morse. Matt says, speaking of number stations, last week I got V07 Spanish lady operating by Russia over the Pacific coast. It's Sundays 01, 0120, and 0140. So Saturday night in North America. I need to check that out. The one that I always will remember, which was always cool, and that by accident I found when we were at the height of the last solar activity peak. Radio New Zealand in the summer was using 15720. And I would tune in, and at 04, was it 04? Yeah, 04 UT, I would definitely hear a tone. There was a slight tone. And usually when there's a tone is because there's a station close to the frequency. And so it creates a heterodyne. So, at first it wasn't very strong, and I was trying to pinpoint it a little bit and trying to try to listen to it, but couldn't really get anything. So I continued for the next, days and weeks to listen. And at every day at 0400, it was there. And one night it was stronger than usual. So I started tuning because it was just 1 kilohertz off. So Radio New Zealand was on 15720. That signal was on 15721. And that day that it was a little stronger, I tuned 15721, and I put myself in upper sideband to try to avoid as much as possible the Radio New Zealand broadcast, which was quite strong. And I could distinctly hear numbers. It was a Russian number station that was transmitting to the Pacific. So they were transmitting from the Pacific coast of Russia. And man, I was so happy. I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is a number station. So every night when I was listening to Radio New Zealand, when I would hear that faint tone, I was like, oh, the number station is up. And that was kind of cool. And actually, I do have a video on the channel where I have it displayed that I'm listening to it, and you hear I think it was not they would give out the numbers in Russian. So that was cool. That was a really, really cool one, and that totally by accident. So and the West Coast, you guys on the West Coast are well placed for that, for the Pacific ones. Here, if I look at Priam, the next station that is targeted is in 2 hours, and it says that V07 should be on 15893 upper sideband in 2 hours time. 15893 upper sideband. And for those that want to know what it sounds like, we can actually, Priam, can actually go here and choose the station. I like Priam a lot for that. It's so nice to have such a resource for those number stations, but there's a lot of them that are probably not. So this is what it sounds like when you actually tune it. Oh, this
5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2.
It's the Spanish lady.
0, 0, 0.
Location,
5,
Khabarovsk, Russia.
5, 1, 2.
It's called V07 because it's the Spanish language mode of the Russian 7 operator.
5, 1, 2,
So this is what it sounds like. So this is what Matt received in the number stations. What else do we have? Robert Shine, what do you think number stations or spy secretive stations are as prevalent as they were? I seem to hear a lot. There's still a lot, that's for sure. Russia is a big operator of the number stations, but there are some from Poland and from a few other countries. And I have a hunch that we hear a lot more, or we could hear a lot more than in reality is shown on the Priam page. I've been hearing quite a few times some Morse code stations that are not identified nowhere, that are not at Priam, random, numbers, letters being sent out, sometimes by a human operator because you see the varying speed. And I think there's a lot of them that are just not reported because you have to be there at the time that is happening. And if you miss it out, it's gone. And, we talk about these one-time pads. I think there's also the one-time frequencies. If they choose a frequency, it's like we're going to be on that frequency the only time. And you're never going to hear it again on that frequency. I wouldn't be surprised the one I heard on 322 something megahertz the other time. I would not be surprised that was a number station. It never popped up again. A lot of people after that video said, you know what? I've been monitoring regularly that frequency around that time. Never heard anything. So I think there's more than we actually know. As we are work, it's still amazing that spy agencies still use shortwave. Well, it might not seem like a good idea at first because a lot of people will say, well, why are they using the internet to send secret messages? Isn't it easier? But you got to remember that on the internet, there is always a possibility of tracing back to the origin who sent it and maybe tracing who received it if need be. Shortwave, you just put a transmitter on that weird frequency and the guy or the spy or the girl or whatever, because there probably are women spies, a lot of them, just needs to have a little radio in the middle of nowhere. There's no way to they can't track you. You do what you have to do. Those little numbers, that message, what it means. No tracing possible. At the worst, somebody somewhere, probably somebody like us that are big radio fans, have a hear it, are wondering what what it is, where it comes from, but we don't know who actually got the message. And it's the most anonymous way of receiving a message. Anywhere with a small portable, you'll get it, and you might be in the middle of a park, sipping a little coffee, pretending you're doing something else. It's pretty crazy. Dmitry Larinovich, 3756, 80-meter ham band here in the USA, and I hearing some hams talking far away. Matt, that's a cool story. What language? I think it was Russian. They were giving Russian numbers. I was pretty sure it was Russian numbers. But it was cool. It was really cool to just by accident. And you want to have that. You want to have that that spying, you get into your detective mode. I heard that tone. And as a big radio fan listener, what do you think happens when that tone gets on? You immediately wonder, what is that tone? Why is there a tone? And with my knowledge, one of my knowledge tells me there's a signal that's just off frequency. And of course, you start tuning. It's like, oh, it's 1 kilohertz off, because you tune that radio and it's like, oh, it's 1 kilohertz off. And then you got one day the signal strong enough is, oh, I hear a voice and it's numbers. It's Russian numbers. A little bit of detective work. It's kind of cool, Tony says her number station last week on 12140. Cool. Matt says it's interesting how they prove the transmitter location of V07. It mixes with legit medium wave broadcast stations also in that city and can sometimes be heard on V07 frequencies. Cool. As we work when they busted the Russian spies in New York about a decade or so ago, they found they were using Sony ICF 2010s. Hey, I'm listening to Shortwave. Leave me alone. Yeah, old tricks are the best. Absolutely. Charity X, maybe Priam is just a distraction. Look, anything is possible today, but I know that Priam seems to be very hobbyist related. It seems to be a bunch of guys that are obsessed with number stations. It's like the Numbers and Oddities group. Numbers and Oddities group, same thing. It's like it seems to be a bunch of guys obsessed with what are these odd transmissions that we hear everywhere. Matt says, I've seen stories of spies being caught as they were actually listening to number stations. There was a Czech spy from the Cold War era, maybe in the 70s, who was caught in the act. Wow. They knew he was going there. That's another thing. If you're a spy, you want to be an intelligent spy. If you want to be an intelligent spy, you don't go to the same park and the same place all the time. You go at different places to do that listening. You don't go to the same place all the time. That's a lazy spy will go to the same place all the time. Chaz Tank says in the late 80s, we used to intercept a lot of traffic from VBO Stanny on the USSR coast. Dmitry says the American agency has found that Jack Barsky was a spy for Russia, and now he works for the U.S. Oh, man. Ramon Sampson, nice to have you here. How do you spell Priam? Priam, here's the site that I've been talking about, priam.org. It's just there, and you'll be able to see some of the schedules of some of the stations, and it's really cool. Michael Thompson, thank you very much. It's fun to talk about all this stuff, and it's and there's the mystery with all of what's happening in the spies and the stories and thinking we're in the middle of some kind of James Bond-ish moment, listening to one of those messages that we never know what it means. It might mean that tomorrow morning nuclear war is going to start. But there's one of those it's one of those things, and it puts it in the action that spies and spying is active and working. It's still working. Canadian Radio TV guy probably told us before, but I don't remember how did you happen to get into shortwave. So the story here is so my dad is the kind of guy that purchases all sorts of things, and because he's curious, and he would come on with all sorts of cool stuff that after maybe a couple of weeks he would be bored to death. Because he never would, he never would hook to something. when he purchased something, after a couple of weeks, he was always getting bored. And what happened is, whatever he would purchase would just stay in a shelf. And of course, I was a curious kid. So once that couple of weeks where he's interested is gone, I was the one picking it up and playing around with this stuff. That's how it happened with the Commodore VIC-20 and so many other things that he bought home. And one day he came home with a multi-band radio. And I looked at the thing. So he played with it a little bit. Didn't really understand. I got to say, my dad didn't have a lot of education. He barely could read. So he was lucky to have a really good job. So some of the difficulty probably came from the fact that the understanding of whatever he's doing wasn't there. I, on the other hand, was the curious kid that was kind of a little, kind of the smart kid that reads a lot and knows a lot of stuff. And I would, so I started playing with that multi-band radio a few times. I remember my dad not thinking that would actually pick up airplanes for real. And one day I had the radio on and I said, look, this is the airport. And he heard Air Canada 346. And it was like, he said, oh, look at that. You got a plane. And, he understood one thing is that if he didn't understand whatever, I would understand something about whatever he brought home. And I continued using the radio. And I continued playing around. There was a band called SW, which I had no idea what it meant. And I heard my first shortwave signal that I heard is in English. I heard a voice that said, "This is London." And for the innocent 12-year-old that I was, I thought, London, Ontario, Canada? No, that was the BBC from London, England. Then, I continued listening a little bit here and there. And one day I went to Radio Shack, and there was the Realistic DX100 receiver. And I thought it looked cool. I still have it here. I need to put it up in somewhere to have it working. And so I thought it looked cool, but it was out of range. I didn't have any money. You're a kid. I would get $5 for taking out the trash and stuff a week. So I really wanted that badly. So I thought, okay, I'm going to save my little $5 here and there. I remember an uncle coming over. And that uncle, we didn't see much. We almost never see him. And they were having fun. And my uncle looked at me and said, "Hey, come here." And I remember he gave me $20. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And, I was about, I don't know, $50, $60. I had $50 or $60 at that point. The radio was on sale at $99, I remember. And I was like, well, I got 60. I'm not that far off, And I would go to Radio Shack so often to look at that radio. And my dad had a raise, a pretty good raise at some point, and became kind of almost a partner with where he worked with the business itself. So he came home smiling with his raise and his everything was cool. The life was beautiful. He looked at me and he said, "You still want that radio?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How much you got?" I said, "I got 60. He said, "How about I give you what's missing and you go get it this afternoon?" And I was jumping up and down, and I remember going to Radio Shack, and I had $120 on me, which for me was a huge amount of money. I never had $100 in my pockets. So it was like, wow, this is a lot of cash. I better be careful. People are going to, you almost have the impression somebody's going to kidnap you for $100. And went to Radio Shack, purchased a radio, got back home, took it out of the box, thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Thanks to a simple but very effective manual that explained what shortwave was, I already had a basic idea of, okay, I'm going to listen to the world on this thing, apparently. Plus, there's all sorts of other things they were explaining, utility signals and stuff like that. And I turned on the radio, started tuning around, and that was the beginning of the reason I am here today. I just got hooked. That evening, I heard so many countries, because back in 1982, that's what you had on shortwave, so many signals. I didn't know that the radio was good or not, honestly. It looked cool. It looked like it was good. I was getting a lot of signals. Of course, today I now know that I had a rather crappy receiver. But you know what? There were so many signals that I would hear, tons of countries. And I was so happy. I was like, wow, this is so cool, listening to the world. That's how it pretty much started. And, from there, I wanted a couple of years out, about a year and a half, 2 years after. So that's in 82, I guess in around 84-ish. We went to a flea market and a guy was selling a DX302, a realistic DX302 that had a frequency display. My dad knew that, the radio with a frequency display was something I would like to have at some point. And the guy sold it for, I think it sold it to us for $100 or something. And, I didn't have any money, but my dad said, actually, the deal was, how about you don't get your $5 allowance a week for a while and you go home with that thing. And I thought, cool. I can get by without it, that $5 for a while. And it never happened. He gave me the $5 anyways every week. But, it was like, okay, this is cool. And I needed that $5 because that $5 a week, I needed to buy stamps and envelopes to send my reception report. So it was important for me, to have it. That opened up the world of, receiving broadcasts, having a digital readout to know what frequency I'm tuned to. Finally, I knew what frequency I was tuned to. That was a welcome change. By the way, 5960, Voice of Turkey in English, pretty good signal, 5960 kilohertz. Voice of Turkey. So then afterwards, I had that for a long time. I had a couple of portables that my dad had purchased over time, a Panasonic RF B300, a Panasonic RF 2800 or something like that. And when I had my first full-time job, that's when I started looking at something else. And finally came home with a Kenwood R5000, which I owned until about 2010. And that's pretty much the life of my radio experience. And the reason I'm here, actually, and doing this today. What else do we have? What else do we have? Just think it could be mundane transmissions. Yvonne wants to have ham and cheese on rye and a bottle of vodka. I like that. Voicelove says, Barsky and many other spy stories told really well on Spyscape podcast. Cool. That's cool. Matt says, read of a couple of Russian spies living as husbands and wife with children in Canada were caught. Apparently the kids didn't know, but they were deported even though they knew nothing of Russia. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of that happened, and a lot of in the Cold War series, and also mostly in the Cold War series. There's a lot of little stories of spies that were everywhere, but they were talking about how many very ordinary couples were spies for Russia or spies for the U.S. and had a regular daily life. Like, nobody knew. Nobody knew. The neighbors didn't know. If they did find out, the neighbors were like all shocked because it's like, what? What do you mean? John and Mary are spies? What do you mean? They have a regular life, a regular job, and they have their little house. They plant tomatoes in the backyard. What do you mean they're spies? Michael Thompson's first real radio was a DX100. It was amazing for me. Same thing. Same thing for me. It was an amazing receiver when I got it. AB, nice to have you on board. Thank you very much. M Stack says my first shortwave was actually a local station playing Radio Moscow News with scary music promos for it. Michael Thompson had his DX100 for Christmas. That is a great a great one. A shortwave radio for Christmas. Hey, that's so cool. Paul traded a Crossman air pistol for a DX100. Nice receiver, good trade. Cool. Ricardo says, beautiful story from Gilles Life. So near our own experiences. Yeah, Oh, I was so drifty. Absolutely. Hector Vasquez, Realistic 360, the voice of the world. Man. Dennis says if it weren't for that radio, he might have become a hockey player. Although I played hockey, I was rather crappy at it, so I probably would never be a hockey player. Oh, man. Life. Radio Shack was awesome. Absolutely, as viewer work. JD Dakota, one of my uncles had a nice shortwave portable, and I was able to get to use it. To use that, it had a Sears nameplate on it. It was a great experience listening on that radio. That's how I got started. Activity on 4724. Vojislav, voice of Turkey, very strong in Serbia. In more ways than one. Debt before digital, RF 2800. Yep. Nesla, nice to have you here. Just Tank, I think my DX390 is finally dying. Oops. M Stack still using Radio Shack DX396 portable almost every day. Cool. Pretty crazy. John Prochetto, nice to have you on board from Pittsburgh. First shortwave receiver pick out of garbage pile. Zenit H500 in 1976. Repaired it. Still have it. Wow. Cool. Vitor Miguel, nice to have you on board from Portugal. I'm not Chuck. My intro to the shortwave hobby was a night kit, regenerative receiver. That was in 1960. Wow. Mandarin DXer says regular parents as Russian spies would make a great film. Or TV series. Yep. David, awesome story. I got a bit of a false start on radio when I was a kid. Decided to have a go at selecting the shortwave band on the Sony CFS W350L, not understanding anything. Oh, man. What What else do we have? Keegan, Dad gave him a Radio Shack 12795 AM FM shortwave CB VHF TV weather band radio on Christmas 2000. That changed your world. Robert Osborne 13650 right now. Can tell if it's NHK or China Radio. At this time, because if you look at the schedules on 13650, I believe 22 UT. At 22 UT, the only station broadcasting is Japan, Radio Japan. At, 23. 13650. Let me just check it out here. Yeah. 17 to 20. 8, 9, 23, 24. So there's 2259 for Radio Japan, but there doesn't seem to be anything officially on 13650. Interesting. Well, yeah, it is. It is Japan. We're at 23. So it is NHK Japan. Is the only station broadcast. Well, is it? We just go back again here. Oh, yeah, China Radio from Cuba. Oh, that must be Cuba. Okay. Now I got it. Sorry, guys. I was a little lost in my schedules here. 13650. Let me try it here. I'm hearing something very weak. If it's in Portuguese, well, you're listening to China because that's coming from Cuba relay. And if it's in at this time, it should be starting Vietnamese for NHK at this time on 13650. So chances are you're probably hearing China from Cuba more than anything else. On the air is right here. It's on the wall just above the lamp. It's not the best position right now, but I'm trying to find a spot that will be there permanently. But on the air is right here right now. I'm trying to find a better spot so it actually shows better. MStax's main shortwave now is on SDR Uno, but I'm always on a Yisu FRG7. It's tuned to WWV for daily time checks. Cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to have everybody's experience. For sure. Radio Vanny Cuba 13680. Let's check it out. Yep.
Y son basados en variedades cubanas, o sea, lo que nos dan es independencia y sostenibilidad alimentaria para la
producción. Check out 6604.
Gusting 25 knots.
Gander Radio, aeronautical station out of Newfoundland, Canada, with weather 6604. Let's try all the frequencies. 13270. So 13270. Nothing. 10051. Very weak. 6604.
More than 6 miles.
Not too bad.
Rain showers.
And 3485. 3485 is also not bad. So 6604 and 3485 are the two frequencies that are not too bad. So pretty cool. What else do we have? Canadian Radio TV Guy. My intro into shortwave was my realistic DX66. In 2014, after watching a video on shortwave oddities, trying to research online, wondering what the shortwave, what the SW meant on the receiver. Yeah, that was my first thing also, SW. It's not until I got the the DX100 that I understood that SW meant shortwave. Mega White Master, nice to have you here from Poland. Yeah, 6,000 kilohertz is Radio Vanny Cuba pretty much all evening to North America. Is pretty good. Canadian Prairie says there's strong signal Calgary right now, 13,680. Hey, Jim from Rhode Island. Nice to have you here. So, the stream is still on the air, William. You would need to, if he doesn't see it, he doesn't know. When he needs to restart the stream. KW1161, how do you like your new mini PC? I love it. Works great. I'm having a lot of fun, and I've actually been able to run both SDR, the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, and the SDR Play RSPDX together with SDR console running at the same time, which means I can actually compare both. Really, really love it. I'm very happy with that little mini PC right now. Pretty fast, too. Keegan has 100051 Trenton. It's not Trenton Military. 100051 upper sideband is the weather from Newfoundland, Canada X1080Xer. It is not the Trenton Military one. So it's really, really it's really, really the Gander, Newfoundland, Canada one. 6115, yeah, that is WWCR usually on that frequency. So, so nice to see you're back, William. Bobby Burgess, tech side alert because I haven't been watching the latest on your tech channel. When is it safe to get 21H1? Pretty safe. I have it on my main machine is running it right now. It's a small cumulative update, so it seems to be perfect. You know, it's pretty much complete, anyways. So Canadian Radio TV guy says, yeah, New York is off now. New York doesn't broadcast anymore, so it's just Gander that's left. Gander is on all those frequencies, but New York has not been heard now in at least 2 to 3 years. They've completely abandoned the aeronautical weather on those frequencies. So there's Gander gives its weather at the 20th and 50th minutes of the hour, every hour. And the frequencies 3485, 6604, 10051, and 13270 kilohertz upper sideband. You will not hear New York radio anymore in between. Before they were alternating. It was kind of cool. You would alternate between New York radio, Gander radio all the time. But New York radio is now a thing of the past, and I don't believe they have any plans of reactivating that at all. Christian Ferland, bonjour, nice to have you on board. Tristan, World of Radio on 7780. Let's check it out. I love Glenn Hauser's World of Radio. It's always a very informative.
That's the other board of directors on the organizing and told me all as well. The European DX is holding a virtual Zoom meeting Saturday, 13 March from 14 until 15:30 UT. Including presentations by Jim Salmon of Radio Emma Talk and Ronald W. Kenyon, who wrote the book QSL, I Traveled the World and Never Left Home. Also, we'll catch up on EDXC News and General Radio.
So World of Radio show playing on 7780. That is WRMI in Florida. James Johnson getting classical music between 20 and 21 megahertz. You're probably getting some kind of overload because not much is there at this time. For sure. MSTAX right now, K0STH running as K4P to raise awareness for ham radio operator in need on 7214. Let's check it out. 7214. Lower sideband. Do we hear K4P? See if we hear anything. Loading up my memories on Izzy Uno, says Michael Thompson. Yep, 6604 and 10051 is the same. But same reception for you. Cool. So not hearing much on 7214.
Good audio. November 4, Quebec, November Tango, PA 2 Kilo.
Oh, that station from Spain is even stronger now. 7187 EA2 Kilo. And David, that's for you. That ham station from Spain is much stronger now. And that's on the Texan PL990X and the MLA30 loop antenna, with the audio going through the console. So, we hear that Spanish station 7187 lower sideband.
Okay, thank you, Art. 73 and GTX. Bye-bye. Thank you.
A lot of stations want to contact.
Thank you very much for your call. Very strong. You're picking the 16 dBs over 9 in Spain. Go ahead.
Giving a pretty good signal, the guy. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lots of stations in the U.S. want to contact the guy. So, hey, guys, we've been on for 3 hours and 30 minutes. Hope you enjoyed the show today. I'll be taking off and taking it easy for the rest of the evening. Remember, just before we leave, remember that tonight there's a DX test on the AM radio band. WENR out of Tennessee is conducting a test that will be from 05 to 07 UTC. That's midnight Eastern time. And they are going to broadcast Morse code. They're going to broadcast some tones, sweeps, and of course identifications. So if you guys want to try that, WENR out of Tennessee, going to be testing from midnight to 02 to local time Eastern. That's 05 to 07 UTC tonight. So don't forget, I'll be listening and possibly making videos of what I hear and posting them online. So this is going to be cool to check that out. So this is going to be pretty cool to check out. So take care, everybody. Kimberly, it's a little complicated for the window here because I had to put a big sheet in front of the window because the sun was too strong and it was creating a problem for the camera. So next time, Kimberly, I promise, window just for you. There'll be a window shot. So take care, everybody. I will be posting in the Shortwave channel, by the way. I will be posting the what I hear on the channel at midnight tonight here, local 05 UT. So if we hear the station, we can actually share it together. So I know that 1090 is there's a dominant station there usually, but we'll, tones, Morse code, and stuff. I think we'll probably be hearing the station for sure. Terry Cook, take care. KF7BQ, nice to have you, everybody. Thomas Bibish, stay safe. Sorry you're arriving at the crucial moment of when I'm going to leave. It's always a sad moment to see somebody get in and it's like, no, it's over. So we're going to end with popular demand with the Moscow Nights from what was Radio Moscow back in the good old days. And take care, everybody. Stay safe. Love you all. And radio on. And turn that radio. Have fun.
This is the North American service of Radio Moscow, broadcasting on 17.70
15.45, 15.42, 15.14, 12.05, 9.87, 9.76, 9.72, 9.70, 7.32, 7.18, 7.15, 7.11, and 6.11 megahertz.